Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of Bottom of the Bill. We're joined here by our boy Tyler Watts, drummer of Hounds.
What's up, boys?
Chilling, man.
Not much. Thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Before we get started, let's do the obligatory cheers. I'm starting to remember doing this now.
cheers, friends.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah. So before we get into it, just have to give a shout out to our sponsors this week at Captain Jack's Smokehouse in Fernandina. These guys are awesome. And starting next week, they're doing a happy hour, 2 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. So make sure you visit them for that. It's all kinds of great deals on like $2 Bud Light draft and Yingling draft, $4 IPAs, $2.25 domestic bottles, and all $3 wells. Wow, that's awesome. A lot of great stuff here, and then like $8, $10 cocktails down the board. So make sure you guys go visit them. They have some of the best barbecue I've ever had, and I've had a lot of barbecue.
Amazing food over there.
And they actually catered today, basically. We got some food that we had. Billy and I had a little bit
Thank
of it
you,
earlier.
guys.
Yeah, I got some in the oven for you for later.
Sweet.
No problem.
Really good desserts, too. Huge fan of their cheesecakes. Anyways, so yeah, let's get into it. So, Tyler, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your career experience getting started and all that?
So I've been writing music for a long time. I'd say I remember my first song was in like 7th or 8th grade. Me and one of my buddies. I had moved from Jacksonville to Ocala around that time, and left all my old buddies back in Jacksonville. So I met a new kid at school, just like I was a new kid, and we bonded over music. Shout out to Eric Montano if you're out there. His brother Marley was actually, and still is, a big figure in the hip hop scene in Gainesville.
Okay, cool.
So he was always bringing home mixtapes and just like super dope underground music from the area. So we were super inspired by him. We'd see him recording in his room, and so that was kind of my introduction to like songwriting. And then, let's see, in college, I always wanted a drum kit, but mom's never wanted to get me a drum kit. Of course,
yeah.
And in college, I ended up getting a cheap drum kit, kind of just fucked around with it. It was more of like a party favor than taking anything too serious. And then in 2012 actually, I moved from college in Tallahassee back to Jacksonville. Relinked with a couple buddies. We moved on a sailboat for like 3 years and traveled around the Bahamas and up and down the coast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, actually. For 3 years, you're on a sailboat?
Yeah,
Wow.
Lived on a sailboat for 3 years. So I wasn't doing too much music that time, obviously listening to a lot of music, but I really gained a lot of inspiration.
No sailboat
out there
jams?
just traveling. Kind of. Well, fast forward to 2014, I'd come back and visit back to Jacksonville, Ocala, whatever. And Nick Izzard, the guitarist and lead singer in the Hounds, lived in Ocala at the time. And we had mutual friends, and we had jammed maybe like once when I was in college. He'd come up to a party or something. So he had just written a song that was gaining some popularity, Hole in One, down in Orlando under his artist name, N.W. Izzard. I was like, man, this is dope. I was like, you should come on the boat sometime. We could write some music.
Yeah, come over on the boat.
I always have journals full of, just, poetry or music, whatever. So we got together. He actually moved on to my sailboat in 2015. We relocated down to the Keys because we went down there for New Year's one time. And we're like, there's a ton of money just even busking the streets down here.
Oh, yeah. I've always wanted to go to Key West. It's just crazy to me. It's like, yeah, if you want to make it as a musician, get a sailboat.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, dude, it was good. No rent, but
That's
we
true.
were.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
a
already
work
putting
in
it together.
process too. It was a big boat, but it was definitely a work in progress.
Right. But still, it's like, yeah, that makes the most sense if you really want to, cut costs, live on the water.
Yeah, man. And we were, if we didn't have a gig or before we had gigs, we were busking the streets. So that. I encourage any musician, no matter what level you're at, to go play in the streets, and it's like the most humbling thing in the world.
For sure.
And point blank, you figure out what people respond to. So, you think you got a banger and you play it all day and you don't make a fucking dime, you're like, all right, well, and then you go to, you know, something else you've been working on. It's also a good place to cut your teeth and, you know, work on new stuff. So
Yeah, I can imagine.
if people have no plans to go listen to live music and you're able to stop them in passing and then get out their wallet and tip you, you know, $5, $10, $20, $100, then you made an impact on that person.
Yeah,
so it's
for
like,
sure.
that definitely helped us in the early stages kind of develop our sound and stuff like that.
That's cool, man. So it was just you and Nick that started? Nick or Nicholas?
Nicholas. Well,
Nicholas.
he goes by Nick.
Okay.
It's short for Nicholas.
Yeah, it is, believe it or not. So, yeah, so it was just me and Nick. I was actually on the Cajon at the time. Obviously no room for a drum kit on the boat.
Yeah.
So we were down in Key West. We were down there from most of 2015, and our good buddy and now bass player, Nate Raynew, he would come down and visit, come to the gigs and always show love. And he saw us play at a festival in Brooksville, Florida called the Funky Farm in 2015. And he's like, man, you guys should move to Jacksonville. There's a good market up there. And so for probably 6 months, we were going back and forth every like 2 weeks, just, you know, all up and down Florida. And we eventually just moved up to Jacksonville and called it home, and no looking back since
That's
then.
a really
That's awesome,
interesting backstory. Like the you were just on a sailboat and everything too. I'm still just like fantasizing about doing that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, it was.
Let's get a boat, bud.
Yeah, right. Let's get a boat.
I'm actually terrified of open water and fish. So
Well,
probably
keep it
wouldn't work.
anchored, you know.
Yeah,
Spend a lot-
exactly. Like
Spent a lot of time on the dinghy. So I actually got a funny story. So one time, Nate, we wouldn't have been able to do this without Nate, especially this trip. So at one time when we were moving the boat from Fort Lauderdale, which is where I purchased this boat, down to the Keys, we were anchored off of a Big Pine Key, mile marker 28.
Okay, cool.
So
my
like 30
roommate,
miles
my
from Key
roommate's from
West.
there for Big Pine.
Yeah, Big
Zach,
Pine-
if you're watching,
Big Pine's the shit.
Yeah.
So we're moving the boat, but we planned a week of gigs from like Fort Lauderdale down to Key West, like all like a day apart,
my
right?
God.
So we had I don't even remember who we had driving the gig van, but Nate hopped on the boat with us, and we would sail all day for like to just go 50 miles, and then we had the gig van meet us there. We'd throw anchor, dinghy in, unload the gear, play
Jesus.
the gig, and
Okay, so maybe not the
it was insane,
best mode
dude.
of
It's-
transportation.
No,
Yeah.
it was
What an
a
experience.
lot
though.
better on
Sounds
paper, you
awesome.
know.
Yeah.
That's something that you could only do in Florida as well, though.
yeah, right.
That is like
Definitely.
you're Florida grown and everything.
Oh yeah,
Gotta be.
I'm a Florida boy.
Yeah, of course,
yeah.
yeah, you already said it's like I'm from lived on a sailboat for 3 years. I'm like, oh yeah, he's from Florida.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's a great experience.
That's a great.
So,
backstory.
how long you been here in Jacksonville now for?
Beginning of 2016, we moved here.
Okay, cool. And you've been playing music full time ever since like 2015, I guess.
Yeah, 2015 is when I came back from the Bahamas and met up with Nick. And our first time playing together, we went busking in St. Augustine, right there on St. George Street, actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ended up getting a gig that night at Stogie's, the little cigar bar.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and we've pretty much been booked together. We never like, hey, do you want to start a band? But since that day, we've been booked like every week.
That's awesome.
So we're just, all right. And then eventually Nate joined as, first he was like our booking dude, and then joined as a three-piece as the bass player.
So this
That was
was
in 2016.
2016.
We officially became, the band or whatever.
Gotcha. So it was NW Izzard at first when you guys officially became a band, right? It was.
Well,
or-
that's still Nick's artist name.
Okay.
But, once we became the three-piece and, had more contributing members, it was time to form the official band and
Yeah, because I
rebrand and
remember
all that
seeing
stuff.
NW Izzard at like at least on like festival lineups and stuff like that, and for at Lynch's all the time and everything too.
Yeah, so
And he still got his name on all the traveling gear. What do you call them? God damn it, I can't think of the name.
the road gear.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Billy's a musician.
Yeah, I know. Like every now and then.
yeah, so shout out the Lynches. That's like our family. That's like, when we first moved here, like, man, we got to get in Lynches. That's the spot,
Yeah.
I totally
And
Davey,
we were
the
lucky enough
manager's
to
a great
get
dude.
yeah, everyone there is just amazing.
Yeah.
But we were lucky enough to get a residency. It was in I guess it was probably the end of 2016. So we'd been here for a year on the scene, and yeah, we had that residency for 2.5 years. We just got touring so much that we weren't there enough, so decided to make way for the next guys, and it's been amazing, man. We love that spot.
Man. Lynch's is fucking awesome. I play there as often as I can. All the bartenders there are great, and just the crowd's always pretty receptive to whatever you're doing. Even if they don't know what you're playing, they just want to have a good time, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool about Lynch's.
It's the last place for music at the beach, man.
Yeah,
that's it
for sure.
Besides Blue Jay.
No offense. Yeah,
Karen.
of course. Blue Jay listening room is definitely a great spot. I did want to ask you a little bit about the rebranding process. So why did you guys come up with the name Honey Hounds, and where does that come from? And
it was a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Branding is the hardest thing.
Yeah. And how has your music been influenced by that rebranding?
So we definitely wanted something bluesy, a bluesy reference, something playful. You know, a lot of our music, the themes is, you know, man versus woman, you know, love, sex, despair, money, lust, you know, a lot of worldly, earthly things. But so I don't know, it was hard, man. There was also some words we liked the word honey, you know. It's got that kind of sultry vibe. So
yeah,
man, it took a couple months to actually come up with the name. I don't even remember who came up with it, but I remember we just had notebooks of, you know, I like this word with this word. A lot of searching. I don't even know what they were now, but a few times, like, all right, that's the perfect band name. You look it up, and it's like an Asian K-pop group
yeah.
who hasn't released a song in 5 years, but they got like 70,000 followers. So
we know that full well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
send some C&Ds out here in a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a small world, and it gets smaller every day with the internet. So that's going to be harder and harder, especially anyone with a MacBook is a musician now.
And good for them. I'm not an elitist.
No, yeah, which is great.
Yeah. But like also like whoever has the most songs, we get to use the band name.
Yeah.
Should be the ruling factor.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I like the name Honey Hounds.
It's great.
It's a pretty brilliant name.
Thank
There's
you.
a lot of implications there. It can go like a lot of different ways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Bitch
honey.
better have my honey.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I
And
think.
it's kind of cool. Our fans, you know, we got the Honeys, and then we got the Hounds, and
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
to me, one of
reasons.
the best compliments. Not even a verbal compliment, but other than people singing your lyrics, which I feel is like that's when you know that maybe you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So that's the best. But the second best is to see two strangers make a connection at your show.
Yeah.
So all the time, you know, you'll see girls and guys, and they start vibing. Clearly, they don't know each other, and you kind of see that whole thing happen. And you know, whether they go home together or not that night, you know, maybe they made a memory, and then Honey Hounds was the soundtrack to that memory.
Yeah, exactly.
To that night. So
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what I love to see. People just vibing and having a good time, and
We
you
just
just
want to
happen
be
to
the
be playing
soundtrack
music.
to your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't that a song?
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere down the line.
It's like one of the worst things that people always ask you is describe your music.
Oh yeah.
Or what is it like, or what genre or something. You can't do that.
I've
So
said this for years. Talking about music is like singing about farting. There's no fucking point to it. Just fucking listen to it. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, if you treat it more like the soundtrack to life, like you say, like in my movie, you know, you're gonna hear everything from Mobb Deep to Muddy Waters to, you know, everything in between.
Yeah.
Eddie James and the Black Keys. You know, so I don't want to watch a movie that's got all one genre.
Yeah, of course.
The movie would suck.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
pretend you're a Scorsese movie. All
Yeah,
the best
And he's got the
movies.
best soundtracks.
I love
Ever.
the soundtracks, man.
I agree. I totally agree with
He's
you.
opening
He
up
does
with
have
Eric
the best-
Clapton in every movie.
Yeah.
Yep, he does. Yeah, he's got the best.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, Quentin Tarantino's got a good soundtrack choice.
He
Yeah,
does.
for sure.
He
Anyways,
does. Also a blues man.
Yeah.
Great hip hop as
Yeah,
well.
that's
Yeah.
true.
So I'm interested in knowing. Well, let me reference my thing. I lost track of where I
Do it.
was. So obviously it's been like the same members from when like, before it was Honey Hounds to like now that it's officially Honey Hounds.
Yep.
What was so how is do you think like the name change has influenced the music? Like obviously you have a brand now that comes with Honey Hounds. There's got to be some kind of intention in creating a cohesive sound and look and all of that. How is that? Has the rebrand kind of shaped the way that you guys write together now, or the way that you guys dress on stage, or any of that kind of stuff?
I don't think specifically well, I guess it depends on what avenues. So like the way we dress, I mean, we've definitely matured over the past few years. Like we're playing in the Keys, I was wearing fucking pirate pants and a tank top, and flip flops, just because you're in 200-degree weather.
Well, and you're
And
Margaritaville, USA too. So.
And showering at some chick's house that you meet that night. So.
Yeah, like Top Gun.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're not dressing up for every gig, but and the same with the music. I think it naturally there's a progression and it matures, but definitely the writing has not changed. It's just kind of what we feel at the time. Nick's a very he's definitely a blues man through and through, but he's got a good pop sensibility about him.
Yeah, definitely. You guys, your songs are very, very marketable in that world. I've noticed.
Thank you. So it's basically we're always throwing ideas back and forth. If it sticks around, then it's catchy enough, at least for that time. And then when you put lyrics to it, if you can remember them without writing them down during that session, then it made the cut.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, not that we don't write things down, but yeah, it's just the writing process is kind of always different.
Yeah, or something meaningful about a lyric that you come up with that just sticks with you, where you don't have to write it down. It's like you do write it down because like obviously you're trying to figure out like the arrangement of your song and everything.
Yeah.
But like if you don't have to write it down because it's just like a memorable line or something, like that's definitely something to think about. Where it just hits you, just like you don't forget it. You know?
Yeah. So if you guys or anyone out there has ever, dabbled in any psychedelia.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
One of the most common themes is that universal like consciousness,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
That connectivity that everyone has. So I'm a firm believer in that, and especially when it comes to writing, and everyone's guilty of it. You'll go back and listen to some shit that you wrote, either the instrumentation or the lyrics, and you're like, where'd that come from? Who wrote that?
Came from above, another higher power.
Anyone could have grabbed that. If you didn't grab that at the time, some other band down the street might have grabbed that.
That's very true. Yeah.
Same thing with like a concept. You're like, man, this is a great concept. You could sit on it for 6 months, and you're going to hear that concept somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, I don't know what it is. It's just that.
So you're more juju. Like kind of advocating to like always be working, or what do you mean by that?
I just think you need to be.
You need to take drugs, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
No, just I think, especially in the writing process, to write the best songs, in my opinion, I think you need to like take the ego out of it. It's like those lyrics don't even belong to you. That all it is some words put together or some notes put together. Sure. Pretty much all of it's been done in some facet before. It's just like you're kind of just this vessel. Like I feel like this rhythm section, you just pull it out of you may have an idea of what you want to do, and everything's influenced by something else.
Right.
Like we were talking about Tame Impala earlier.
We were.
I love Tame Impala. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're never gonna sound like them, but it's just all these different influences. Like, yeah, it's our unique sound, but it's because we like Tame Impala and we like Eric Clapton, and we like
I noticed that
all these other guys, and there's even like hip hop in our music. I feel like
Yeah, definitely.
So it's uniquely ours, but we kind of borrowed all these things, these ideas.
It's interesting. Your last album came out last year, 2019, right?
Yeah.
Tame Impala's album came out this year. And I think they stole your album cover. Because it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? A little bit.
A little bit.
Similar color scheme, the archway and everything.
Yeah, we're
just
first.
Like you were saying, though, like it's out there in the universe and it came across y'all.
It's in the ether. You just grab it when at
Absolutely,
the right
man.
moment,
And even that idea is not original. I don't know where I've heard it before, but in terms of songwriting, like it's just like floating out there. I listen to some of my lyrics, I'm like, that I don't say that, or I don't think like that. Where did that come from?
Right.
That is
know.
true. I always wonder that too. I'm just like, when I'm playing music and everything like that, I'm just like, wow, how can I do this right now? If you start thinking about it too much, then you can't do it.
Yeah, don't think about it.
That's what I do. That's what I tell Anton all the time. I don't think about it at all.
Yeah, no, it comes through when you're playing a lot. I can tell you that much.
No, yeah, I don't think about it at all.
The worst thing you can think is I'm crushing right now, because you're about to fuck up.
Yeah, that's
seconds
some
later.
good advice. I'll
every
stop doing
single
that.
time. I'll be like ripping a solo or something and say I'm sounding really good tonight, guys, and then out of nowhere I'm just losing it.
I just don't.
every
Listen, I
time.
don't listen to myself at all. I just like he said.
Well, dude, you don't listen to anything. That's the
I
problem.
unplug, like he said, and
Yeah.
listen to the universal truth.
No, you don't listen to anything.
Oh, well, I listen to that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, I feel like he was one of the few, maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's some other guys too, but they were like direct vessels. They weren't. Of course, they had the technical ability, but they just like kind of just turned off, and they let the mothership kind of send them a direct signal.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
They weren't thinking, you know.
Yeah. No, definitely. It definitely comes through with Hendrix, where it's very much like.
Mistakes and all, like it couldn't be better.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with Hendrix. Is like we get into this conversation all the time amongst the band because I'm kind of like I am kind of an elitist when it comes to music. So
No,
so for me, and
really?
I'm gonna go ahead and just ruin an unpopular opinion for another episode. Sometimes to me, I think people hold Hendrix in too high of a regard. However,
you don't have to stay here if you want to.
No, I want to hear you out. I'm well versed in the Hendrix.
When you take into account the time, number one, he was definitely way ahead of his time in a lot of ways.
Really?
And when you frame it in the way that he's just kind of like a vessel for these ideas, because if you're listening to what he's playing, there's a lot going on there where you're like, ooh. But at the same time, it's just raw emotion and just raw like
That's
this
what
is
music
this
is,
is
though.
me
It's emotion.
right now. That's what you're getting. So there is something to that as well. But that doesn't always hit me the way that it hits other people. So that's just my thing. But I get what you're
The
saying.
feeling, dude. So Voodoo
Yeah.
Child,
Yep. Okay.
not Slight Return, Voodoo Child Blues.
Yeah.
That to me, like the first 2 minutes of that song is like the most flawless guitar playing, but it's like straight from the soul. Like I've heard it tried to be replicated a million times.
Yeah.
And he's not playing anything crazy
No, he's not.
at all.
No.
But it's just like pure emotion. I love that, man.
Yeah, I love my favorite thing about Hendrix in particular is his like his rhythmic phrasing. Like you listen to Castles Made of Sand.
Dude, I was just thinking about
Like-
Castles Made of Sand, especially like in the beginning of it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking about too.
That shit blows me away.
I think we can connect it now. Watch
I've
out.
tried to learn that a million times. I'm just like I can't do this.
No,
It's
it's
just-
got
Dude,
such a
can you
touch,
imagine
man.
hearing Machine Gun from the Band of Gypsies in 1969?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's like he took the guitar and made it something else.
Yeah,
Completely something
You know,
else.
definitely.
And how he doesn't even like I don't know if that's true or not that he couldn't read music. The guy was prolific.
No, he couldn't read
not
music.
read music, but didn't like know what music was or like knew chords. I was like, hey, come on.
Like, he had
He
his
did-
own language for sure.
I get it, but the way that he used synesthesia and he was like, this song is just blue, dude. Like, and then it just like played the color blue. Like,
Yeah.
that's just like on another different level.
Yeah, well, there's a lot.
So overrated, you say?
All right, so
But
hold
keep
on.
going.
Let's play a quick game. Who's your top three?
Top 3 guitarists.
Top 3 guitarists.
I would say right now Derek Trucks just holds that place for number one. John Schofield and Mark Lettieri.
Wow, he could just say that real quick.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this.
I can't
Larry
think of-
Carlton's up. I don't know. It's hard to say. Larry Carlton's up there
Oh,
for me too,
wait.
though.
Are we talking all time or just
Yeah,
right now?
all time.
All time? All right, so Eddie Van Halen, without a doubt.
Okay.
Super Shredder.
Yeah. And In Your Face, and amazing.
Yeah. Plus the leotards and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
that counts for something.
That's kind of my style.
Yeah,
Okay.
Billy's really all or nothing kind of guy.
All right.
And then that's it.
Just Eddie
I'm
Van
just
Halen.
kidding.
Billy's not much of a guitar guy.
No, yeah, I'm
How
really
about you?
not. I'm not. But yeah, I'll ask you that question because it seems like you like.
I'm like Clapton, Jimmy Page, and I guess it'd be Hendrix.
I love Page, man. I think Page is one of those guys where
He's
it's
the
like,
riff master.
Yeah.
No one, I mean, I'm holding firm on that one. You
Yeah,
can't
no,
question.
no.
No one has
Bro.
more riffs than this dude.
Page is so. This is where I kind of become a hypocrite, right? Because if you can't say that Page is like great in all of his like slop that he's been
Yeah.
guilty of doing, and then not say that Hendrix is like not the same level, right? But to me, there's like this thing that Page does, man. Like if you listen to like the solo of Since I've Been Loving You, it's like he does this. There's like one thing he does in particular.
That little sputtery little.
It's like a slide kind of thing where he does it's like a bend into like a slide down kind of thing that he does. It's just every time I hear that, it just hits me right in the gut.
Yeah.
It's just like you are like perfect imperfection. You know what I mean?
But he plays those the same sloppy way every single time.
I know. I don't know what
He's a studio guy, so you know he can play it clean if he wants. It's just not his style.
Right.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention George Harrison.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm like a song guy. Like
I feel you.
Like I appreciate the technicality, especially when it comes to like drumming and drummers and stuff.
Sure.
Like, I love Super Shredders. It's fun to watch, but no one is ever going to remember that.
Right.
You know? If you write like Hey Jude, for instance, arguably one of the best songs ever.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the easiest songs ever. You know?
Right.
It's just a great freaking song.
Yeah.
So.
I heard the story about that song was someone challenged him to write a chorus for a pop song with no words.
Well,
and he did, and to make it a hit.
Well, Paul McCartney wrote that for Julian Lennon.
I know that.
That's the official story, anyways.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the na 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 part or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's like I'm gonna fucking drop this hit without any lyrics, and then it'll be famous.
The other story with that is the radio DJs wanted a radio cut. They didn't want the 12-minute long version.
Is it that long?
No, it's probably like 6 minutes long, 7 minutes.
Maybe I've only heard the radio edit. There's
Which
a longer.
is probably why it was
Jude.
never on an album either.
Yeah, it's just super long. But they wanted the 2-minute 30 version, and they're like, no, you're gonna play it in its entirety, or you're not gonna play it at all. But when you're the Beatles. You know,
yeah, Beatles get to do whatever they
want.
I
like Johnny Capel up here. David Gilmour for sure has to make that list
Gilmour.
as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pink Floyd too,
if
but I
I
didn't
could
feel
play
like
any guitars, it'd be David Gilmour.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That is so refined.
Yeah,
so much feeling.
Honestly, it's like
never a wasted note.
Never, man. I would take away all the top technical guitar players out there. Even like Mark Lettieri is one of my favorites. David Gilmour. Man, like I've tried to like one of my favorite solos of all time. This is cliche, but the second solo in "Comfortably Numb," okay, one of the best of all time. And it's like, it's just simple pentatonic shit. He's not doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
I still can't play that solo to this day. It's just like he's just like, I don't know, man. It's like his phrasing and the way that he bends the notes and then like reverse bends them. It's just like it's insane.
I know this is like super minimalistic
space,
too,
yeah.
but my favorite album for sure is the "Wish You Were Here," and just the fact that he came out with that 4-note riff, the do 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 do.
Oh, Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
It's so easy, but I'm just like every time I hear that, I want to just be like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's like
so
the easiest thing in the world to
less
play.
is more, right?
I agree.
That's
always.
like something that, especially when it comes to the studio, like I feel like bands need to live by, especially if you hate to even say the word pop, but it's less is more. It's that refinement. And 9 times out of 10, if someone can walk away humming your guitar solo, you won for the night.
I've been saying that forever.
If that
too.
is stuck in your head, like I can hum every single David Gilmour guitar solo.
Yeah, for sure.
I can hardly do that with any other bands, and I listen to a lot of music, so that's when you win. When that melody gets caught in your head, it's like
I do.
It's
I guess
language.
I guess you play guitar too, then.
No, can't play a lick.
So
I just love guitar. I just love music, man. I love guitarists too, and I'm a gearhead.
So hang on. You said so you were saying that you didn't get a drum set till you were how old?
Till I was 21.
So that's all. No offense. That's all you play.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
That's amazing.
Billy doesn't understand that you can like other instruments that you don't play. That doesn't register to him at all.
I was just like that. Like
no, I didn't start playing the drums till I was 21, but I didn't really take it seriously until 2016.
But you write lots of lyrics and everything. And you
believe it or not,
and
our manager Nico, he may kill me if he knew this, but my first show ever on the drums was our first show as a band. And that was opening for the Hip Abduction.
Ooh. At Lynch's?
At Lynch's.
No
for
shit.
that summer concert series. That was my first time ever playing like a show on the drums.
That's insane.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Prodigy over here. Holy shit.
No.
Way to go, bud.
You have a fucking fat pocket though, man. You're a great drummer for sure.
Thank you. I love the pocket. That's
what I was trying to say was you said that you wrote songs and everything before that.
Yeah, I'm definitely a songwriter
But, like, you're
that
talking,
plays
like-
the drums.
But lyrics and everything you're writing and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm really not trying to throw you under the bus here. But do you know music theory or anything like that and stuff
No.
like that? So what? How do you write songs then? No offense. Or you just write? You just sing over the drums and hum it, I guess, or come up with it and record it.
Well,
I'm trying to put it together. Sorry.
So, in terms of like the writing process,
Yeah.
So, it usually will either start with a melody. That's the first thing. You have to have a strong melody. Nick, he's great at compositions.
Sure.
So Nick's usually like, hey, I got this rhythm section, even if it's just a verse rhythm section, no bridge or anything like that. Come together, we'll put a melody together over the top, and then the lyrics will come from there, fill in the blanks, be placeholders until the best line wins. Or sometimes, like I said, it's a melody.
And you said you write a lot of poetry and stuff like that too for songwriting and everything, and for the lyrics rather. I'd say. Okay, interesting. You're a big picture guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So before I was a musician, I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So I look at it through
I gotta
the
look at the
creative
whole
lens,
picture.
if you will.
For sure.
Because I see everything as performance.
Yeah.
An artist is an artist. I wish I could paint. That's one thing I wish I could paint and
Yeah,
draw.
I have no concept of that at all, man.
But-
no artistic.
Or
I feel like I have a
dancing or
good
anything
eye
like that.
for it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't, but
Well, it's kind of like
I enjoy it at least. We'll say that.
It's like a producer, a producer in the studio. They don't
Yeah.
play an instrument a lot of the times, but they can see.
You have to have a good ear.
Yeah, they have the vision for the song already.
Mhm.
So it's like they can tell you, this needs to be here, this needs to be there.
Yeah.
They can tell you how to play something because they are a musician. They just don't play an instrument, and like that's something I've always been kind of a big proponent of. It's like there's a lot of people that come to our shows or to other friends' shows that don't play an instrument, but they are so connected to the music on some kind of level. And to me, that like if you have an idea in your head and you can hum it out or you can do anything with it, just an original thought when it comes to music, then you're a musician. How you get that thought out is just the tool that you use to express that thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But having the creative thought is what makes you the musician or the artist or whatever it might be,
That's
So-
true.
So for our newest song, it's called Better Stranger. We just released a little live video that we did for the Swanee live stream.
Yeah.
We released it a couple weeks ago. I woke up probably 8 months ago with this melody and line, Better Stranger Than a Lover, in my head. Me and Nick actually lived together, so at the time we were this little 2-story spot over off Atlantic. Go downstairs and it's like, I got this line, a partial melody. It's going to be the chorus. I don't know anything about the verses. And the rhythm section in my head, I hear Why Don't We Do It in the Road from the Beatles. Just
Nice.
a driving one note, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. That's how the song started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the only theory.
I had some.
Aaron makes a really good point though about composing silence. Aaron's our drummer, by the way. Aaron
Yeah,
Platts.
Aaron,
Thanks
what's
for
up?
tuning in, man.
Aaron shreds.
Yeah, having a great vocabulary and also
Oh, that's
composing
what I
silence is a great mindset when trying to be creative in a different way, for sure. Like thinking about just like what can not be played here when you're writing a song, which is something that we think about all the time. Like we were rehearsing one of our songs last week that we're recording right now, and we realized that, hey, Billy's doing something over here. Maybe don't do that.
Maybe just stop.
Or just what would it sound like if you didn't do that and you had that space there,
Yeah.
And the idea ended up working out much better when there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how to how you can use space as a voice or the silence as a voice in the moment.
Absolutely, dude. And that's, you mentioned something about my like our pocket, and that's the biggest thing. It's almost like you strip it naked and then you kind of fill in. Especially we're just a 3-piece, so there's a lot of like call and response in the rhythm sections.
Yeah.
Nate also, he's a guitarist really who plays the bass in our band, so he thinks about bass a little bit different. So it's a lot of times, they're playing off each other, and either I'm trying to create the groundwork, something
To build up
big
a
pocketed,
foundation,
and, a foundation in the middle, or sometimes you can do more like syncopated or like ghost notes and stuff like that.
Yeah, to fill the space.
To fill the space.
Sure. Yeah, we played as a 3-piece for a long time before Billy joined the band, and that's a whole different ball game, man.
I'm an accessory.
Yeah. So obviously,
for sure.
a lot of times when we're writing, though, we don't think, all right, well, we're just a 3-piece. We can't do this. It's, no, what's the best for the song? We do that in the studio, and we either replicate it the best we can live, or if we ever, every now and then we'll have a fourth member come sit in with us. We'll try to tailor it to whatever instrument that is.
Yeah, no, I'm a big proponent of making the studio experience a different experience than the live experience.
Yeah, you don't want to cheat the listener. You want to give them the best possible thing there is,
And also, like, sometimes, like, if you're in a 3-piece band or a 4-piece band, like, you don't always have, like everything available to you in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this world available to you that, like, I don't know, why not just take advantage of that? And
absolutely.
Why not give the listener the full, like you said, like, don't cheat them. Like you have all this shit in your head that they're taking time, that they're spending their time that they can't ever get back to listen to that thing. Why not give them the full picture that's in your head?
You don't want them using their imagination on your songs.
Exactly.
You need to paint the picture for them.
Exactly.
I think that's a great idea. I was going to
miss you too, Paul.
Suggest that to learn the piano. I don't know. I'm a little bit biased because that's what I play and everything. But it's the easiest to learn and everything like that. And you can translate stuff so quickly.
Especially for drummers, too.
Honestly.
But yeah, let me know if you're interested. And then also if you need a keyboardist for your band.
Yeah.
I'm available.
Yeah, okay.
Just look right at him when you say it.
So I did kind of want to ask you guys about the release of this latest, the newest album, The Flame. So how does this differ from the first one that you guys put out? And what was you guys obviously had a very, very intentional marketing strategy with this. I want to kind of dig into that a little bit as well.
So let's see. When compared to the first record we recorded half of it on the sailboat.
Nice.
Awesome.
The other half was...
Wait, hang on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You still had a sailboat?
No, I actually lost it in Hurricane Irma a few
I'm
years ago.
no
so
shit.
sorry to bring that up then.
No,
Jesus
it's all
Christ.
good, man.
Paul
Shit
lives in a
happens.
boat too, actually.
Sweet. One of my buddies who is actually crossing the Atlantic Ocean right now. So, Paul, you're probably not watching this now because you're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But Woody, I love you, buddy.
But anyways, you recorded on the boat.
Yeah, we recorded the first record, No Sleep, on the boat. We did probably 3 or 4 songs, another handful in Ocala, and the last few in Jacksonville at the end of 2015 when we moved up there.
Okay.
So some of that record is produced, and it's funny because touching back on what we were just talking about, using your resources in the studio and stuff. We were doing a bunch of shit that that we didn't have the means to do at that time, but between programming stuff and studio stuff, we could translate a lot of ideas that we didn't physically have in our hands at the time. So for that reason, it kind of gave that record kind of a poppy sound.
And that was the first record?
The first record, No Sleep. The second record was an EP called the Midnight Magic EP. That record was straight analog. I mean, it wasn't to tape, but everything was recorded in our little home studio that we did. Amps and the drum kit and all that stuff.
Awesome.
And then this latest record we tracked up at Earth Sound Studios up in Valdosta, Georgia. Mixed and mastered by Lee Dias. What's up, Lee? He did a great job with that record. That was our first time really going into the studio, devoting time. All right, we got this week or however long to knock these songs out. It was a great learning experience. The great thing about that, too, is if you're mixing it yourself or doing it yourself, there's like no deadline on it. When there's no deadline
and it's just a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Definitely cheaper. Which is how we're going to do our next record. We're going to go back to recording at the house. We might send it off to get mixed or mastered, but we're investing more into our recording equipment and stuff. But
nice.
That's not cheap. Sorry, I take
it's
that
not,
back,
but
actually.
it's the
But
same.
you can take more
for
time.
the price
Yeah.
of you spending the studio time.
No, yeah.
So we're taking that budget.
Yeah.
So we spent like $10K on our last record.
Woo!
Total, including like marketing and all that.
No, we probably put another $8K into marketing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we, and I don't know how accurate those numbers are. I'm not the numbers guy of the band, but so yeah, take a fraction of that and put that in your home studio, and then you're not stifling the creative process. I mean, some guys are going there like one take Timmy, that's the best solo I could do, whatever. Like, we're not those guys.
I
like,
feel you. Yeah.
Nick is very particular on his takes. If he's got to do it 1,000 times, like, he's gonna get the take he wants.
Most guitarists are.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Same thing with me too, though. Like, even because we only had a handful of takes to get our last record. So listening back, it's like, this song could have been better. But at the end of the day, like, the record's out.
Exactly.
People are singing those songs now. So
keep going. We've been in an argument about this for a while now.
so there's positive and negatives, but
yeah, I'm definitely a perfectionist.
I feel like every artist feels like that, though. I go back and listen to our first record, which is still our most popular record. I know it's been out for 3 or 4 years now, but it's like listening back, it's like painful to listen to. It's like, this is like 10 beats per minute slower than it should be. It's like, no reverb, but everyone else is like, dude, this is still some of your best work.
I'm not agreeing about the quality of your
so you just got to put it out there. At the end of the day, just get the shit out there, in a timely manner. I feel like if you write a song, you play it out for, tour with it, take it on tour, or gig it at the bars for a few months, then you'll see what works. Roughly, like, all right, we know this bridge don't work here, we know people respond to this, or the chorus just sucks, or whatever. If it works and it doesn't change over a handful of months, then it's kind of set in stone.
Yeah, for sure. Then you take it into the studio.
Yeah, then you take it to the studio. But if you got a studio at the crib, you can kind of adjust it a little bit. I will say, like, the Midnight Magic EP, we wrote those songs and then recorded them right after. So some of them have, like Gypsy Woman, now when we play it live, there's like a whole funk breakdown at the end, which I wish would have made the record. But
I feel you.
We recorded it and then started playing it out.
Yeah.
So
we
it's a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, we're having the same thing right now as specifically one of our songs that we didn't have. We had the fundamentals down, but then, like, as we've been rehearsing it, and we haven't actually played it live yet, but as we've been rehearsing it, we've realized, okay, well, we're gonna add this part in now. Now we're gonna do this, and we've already laid the groundwork in the studio, which we're paying good money per hour to be at.
Yeah.
So it's like we're not gonna go back and redo it. We're just gonna have you're gonna have the studio experience, and then you're gonna have the live experience of the song,
Yeah.
So it's like,
which is good. You always want to give them something different too.
For sure.
What
Give
song
them a
are you
reason to come to
talking
the show. Bounce.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's just sounding like the more we play it and the more we kind of refine things, it's just sounding a little different.
Well, that's and again, that's the newest one, and I think I agree with you that that's what you I think bands, not initially, but like eventually, like, get your own recording studio so you have like no sort of delay or constraint rather on recording and making new music and everything like that. Because imagine if we did, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, like, oh shit, yeah, we can just
go back and do it
again or whatever.
Yeah, or if you're just like feeling like creating in the studio, there's just like that magic that kind of happens there, like the happy accidents and stuff. So if you just had more time to develop those ideas.
And you're not on the clock. There's so much goddamn pressure about like, well, that was another $50 we just paid for that hour. So all right, here we go.
Yeah, was that worth that?
Yeah, I don't actually get stuff. I don't actually, even though I'm the one that deals with like the band budget and stuff like that for the most part, I don't actually have that dynamic existing in my head when I'm at the studio.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm the one that's constantly letting you know, like, hey, but guess what time it is?
I don't think about the money, but we know we have this many days allotted.
Yeah.
We know if we don't finish this today, now tomorrow, this song that I think's got more potential than this one's actually getting less time now. Yep. So it's like,
I agree with that.
You're sacrificing, and like we said, you want to give every song its most potential.
You
never know which one's gonna blow or which one's gonna catch. Like,
for sure.
Our most popular single off the last record was kind of a throwaway song.
That's the way it fucking goes. Like that song "Africa" by Toto. They were laughing about that song because they thought it was so bad, and it's like the only thing that they remember.
So, I don't know who sings it. What's that closing time song? Closing.
Everclear?
Yeah, I forget who does it?
Everclear?
Everclear, is that who it is?
No, I don't know.
I don't know who it is.
I don't know either, actually.
I
but
forget.
yeah,
I'll probably
closing
piss some
time.
people off. I'm just gonna say OAR. Does that sound like OAR?
I don't think it's OAR.
Okay.
No,
No.
it's definitely not. It's definitely not Everclear. But it was
Anyways,
the same time.
They
Yeah.
said that was a joke that they used to
I'll
play
look it
that
up.
closing time at
I'll
the
be
bars to
Jamie
get
right now.
people the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I know.
And everyone's like, "Yo, that didn't make the record." What? So you got to put it on your next record. So they put it on there, and that's like the only song they're known for.
Right, that's kind of crazy.
Clearly, we don't even know the band name, but we know the.
Yeah,
singer
right,
name.
exactly. Case in point.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. It was a one-hit wonder. Semisonic.
Yeah.
Semisonic?
Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't full Sonic.
Or an absolute shame is like Van Morrison. He'll always be known as Brown Eyed Girl. By
Right.
far his worst song.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
wrote in 3 minutes. Probably
Uh,
taking a shit somewhere.
But also, people also know Into the Mystic though as well. That's a
Into
big
the
one.
Mystic's one of.
Oh,
one
that's
of
an
my
amazing
favorites. Yeah,
song.
it's a
But
great
I'm
Yeah.
saying he's known for Brown Eyed Girl.
Yeah, you're gonna get that requested more at a bar than you're gonna get Into the Mystic requested at a
Yeah.
bar.
So
Oh, yeah, for sure.
One
Nobody
of the other
knows who that
reasons
is.
you do not want to play music in the keys is you're getting the requests you get are
Jimmy
Brown Eyed
Buffett.
Girl, yeah, Jimmy Buffett, and then all the other douchey classics. But
That's kind of anywhere though, because it's like the bar scene in general. It's such a different. First off, it's such a different grind than the
Oh, yeah.
original music scene. It's the ceiling is much lower, and the expectations for what you do as a musician are much lower. Not to say that I believe, again, I've said this on the podcast before. If you are a musician, like kind of how you think that everybody should busk, I believe that every musician should endure the bar scene
Absolutely.
for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Just to be like, this is what it's basically gonna be.
Well, no, not the what it's going to be. It's a service industry of the entertainment industry.
I'm just saying you're
you
gonna
know?
have to work harder than this.
Yeah.
to go
but it's
to
a great
be
way.
an
It's a
original.
great way to cut your teeth. Like,
Yeah, best way to cut your teeth. You can learn how to negotiate with bar managers and learn how to budget things, and good way to deal with people and kind of get rid of your stage fright because you're doing it 4, 5, 6 nights a week, and you're just out and like to people that could literally most of the time give a shit less about what you're doing, honestly, and then you got to go out there and give it your all every time, So it's definitely the most. To me, I've never busked before, so I don't know what that experience is like, but the bar scene is has been extremely humbling, and I can't wait for the day
Absolutely.
that I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah,
well,
dude.
Of course,
That's-
yeah. Nobody wants.
Don't
to
get me
do
wrong.
that.
Every bar that hires me and the band and all of us, honestly,
cover your tracks real quick,
I'm grateful for the opportunities. I love to perform. I love to play
I do
music.
too.
But I'm just saying that I don't think it's anybody's dream when they first get started to play music to just be gigging in the bar scene. You know
No.
what I mean?
And on the flip turn of that coin, it's like a lot of these bar musicians, like, it's the hardest thing to do is to transfer patrons into fans.
Right.
So you start going to ticketed shows, and then you really start to appreciate the value of a ticket.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Every one of those counts.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, man. There's just levels to it.
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's amazing.
It's cool because it's like
It's a hustle.
It's a hustle, and it's like a lot of people like you hear. Part of the reason why we started this podcast is because I like to listen to a lot of podcasts, as I'm sure a lot of people do, and I've been looking for a podcast that talks about this kind of dynamic of having to straddle the line of being a bar musician and also pursue a career in the music industry. And I think that they're very different things, and I've been looking for somebody to get just some insight on how do you do this. And there's no podcast out there that I found that talks about it. And that's mostly because what they consider to be DIY artists are people that have label support behind them on some level, whether it's like indie support or a major label. And they have booking and management through all that, and they are marketed as a DIY band through the image and through
Just because they don't have a song on the radio.
right. And to me,
Basically.
it's like it's okay. Maybe that's what a DIY band is if you're in LA or if you're in New York. But if you live in a periphery city like we do, we have to kind of try and break into these markets without having the support on the ground to do
Yeah.
it. So how do we do it? Well, we have to get our guarantees at bars and budget and figure out ways to compete with those artists that have these deadlines and set those deadlines on ourselves, and then with the discipline of accounting and all the other shit that comes with it, you have to adhere to those guidelines. and it's to me it's quite an interesting perspective. And the fact that nobody's talking about it is crazy to me, which is why I think we owe musicians that are not in those big cities to give our experience and our insight and hopefully help people with what we've learned along the way. You guys are doing an amazing job. I think you guys are like a big example of how to do it the right way, in kind of like in the field that we're in, and just the way that we have to navigate through it. You know,
I appreciate that
for sure.
And it's not easy, man. It's 24 hours a day, and it's just even slinging tickets. To this day we still request hard tickets because I know that I can sell you a ticket face to face easier than just you seeing a ticket link online.
Yeah,
Totally
definitely.
agree.
So
I'll call you up and go to your house, and that'll be my day. It's just delivering tickets.
to this day, we'll get whatever. We got a 1904 show coming up. All right, we're gonna push the online sales, but we also want 100 to 150 hard copies, and we'll divvy those out between us, the girlfriends, the homies, whatever. And I'm gonna take a fat stack. And the other thing is you have to be personal with it. Like, I don't know who does have it like that, where they're just no one just has that draw naturally right out the gate without putting the work in that I've ever seen. Like they say, there's no such thing as overnight success. You may have heard of their single may have blew up overnight, but even like what's that chick? Lizzo. Some people were just telling me about Lizzo, how she's like one of the hardest working musicians, has been grinding it out in the underground scene.
And
so
then
it's
she snowballed real quick afterwards. Like got real famous real quick. But
yeah.
Good for her and everything.
Yeah, if you look at the chart though, her growth was probably like this, and then it may spike.
Exactly.
When did that growth chart start? So I know for a fact if we're doing a show and we're gonna push it, I'm good for 25 to 50 tickets every time, but it's got to be personal. Like we said, you can't just expect people to hit you up. Oh, I need some tickets. Send a personal text to someone, call someone, be like, hey man, I'd really love to see you at this show. You don't have to spend that 10 minutes on the phone catching up with someone. Hey, we got it. Well, I'd love to see you, man. There's some new shit that we're putting out. It's a new single you would love. You got to come check it out. All right, cool. Get me down for one or two. Sweet. I'm going to hold you accountable now. That's going down in the notebook. Now I'm getting on the phone with someone else.
That's how you do it, man. For sure.
You have to keep good relationships, man. If you're not a fun person to work with, or if you're a douchebag, or if you're snuffing every chick that you hooked up with before, like, you're gonna get a bad rap.
Yeah,
that's another thing. You don't want to hook up with your fans,
Bill?
If you do, keep a good relationship with them. You can't just blow them off because now you got a bad review. You got
Bill?
a bad rep.
All right.
So
It's all a gotcha show.
It's all. John Lennon said it best. You never refer to them as fans. You refer to them as customers.
I hate the word fans, honestly. I agree with that 100%.
It's weird, and I hate calling my friends customers, but at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a brand, and you only make money if these people, because like we said, it's free for them to stream on Spotify. Yeah. We're getting a 70th of a cent off of that stream.
Right.
Big money.
But if you invest into all these people, they're kind of like the investors in your band.
Yeah,
I know for a fact there's and Jacksonville's brought us in as family. We love Jacksonville so much. So many diehard fans that we love you guys. But we know every time that there's, 50 people are going to be at every single show. If we play once that month or if we play 4 times that month, if we're selling tickets and it's an actual show, they're going to show up.
Right.
So you can't take them for granted either. But then you also there's all those peripheral fans who may only come out once or twice a year, maybe for whatever reason. So you also have to gauge. You can't blow your load on every single show marketing, because then you're just spamming these people and you're oversaturating your market, really.
Well, that's why
to be personable.
It's why it's very important to, if you're a local band trying to pursue the original thing, at first I would say play whatever show you can. But once you start getting some kind of relative awareness in your area, pull it back. Play once a quarter, and once you start seeing more people show up for that, don't look at that and be like, oh, well, we should be playing more because we have more people showing up. Pull it back more. Play twice a year, and then just once you're really on the road, play once a year in your local hometown to the point where nobody even knows what that hometown is anymore. You know what I mean? It's you have to kind of but yeah, what you're saying about like developing the relationships and like and making people like, I like to use the word supporter more than I like to use the word anything else, because fans seems like kind of like, oh, they're kind of like gawking at you, and it's like this whole it's
a
they're
patron, if you will.
Yeah, or patron or supporter. It's
Absolutely.
like because this is really a team effort, right? And to me, supporter sounds like more of like a team effort, where it's like we're up here doing something and you're supporting that, and supporting is like, to like, we can't do this without you, like 100%.
Absolutely.
You know?
And thanking them personally.
Yeah.
Like when we get off stage, like I know always you're going to find me in the crowd. You know, for a supporting gig, you know, then I'm going to be in the crowd or at the merch tent. And that's like the perfect opportunity to make that conversion, like I say, or make someone from a casual fan to a diehard, because now they have an interaction with you and they said how much that song meant to them.
Right.
And then, you know, you guys relate on something. Giving people the time of day means a lot, especially in this industry.
Yeah, big time.
So that's one thing I would really push to anyone out there playing shows, is just be a personable person. Treat every person like a future supporter of yours, and
or a current supporter, you know?
Yeah, or current supporter. Be humble. Merch is another huge thing.
Yep.
Merch is super huge, and hanging out at the merch table.
Yeah, big time.
Like I would say, like playing the show's an hour and a half long at best. So it's like, what are you gonna do with the rest of the time? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta go out there.
There's a little bit of extra stuff you gotta do, and but a big one, like you said, for sure, is being a personality on stage and off. And so I totally agree that you gotta make connections and be personable with you. Yeah, definitely.
And just be yourself. And you the other thing with artists is like, you have to be who you're portraying. So it's best to be yourself. That way you're not an act. But, you know, you see a lot of these pop people. Like, I know you're not actually that guy on the corner or whatever, but you've got that persona. So you got to be that guy, like, on and off stage, you know? So that goes into the whole branding thing that we talked about. And, you know, you want to dress a certain way if your music sounds a certain way. You want to have that kind of stage presence. But yeah, just being humble, I think, is going to take you a really far away. And that's in any profession, but especially music, where there's a lot of egos involved, and
a lot of egos. And I think that it's like you gotta, you know, the idea is that we're not up there selling you like a contrived product. The idea is that we're up there giving you us, right?
Absolutely.
And
something you believe in.
Exactly. And if you go up there and do that and start blowing off your people, then, or your supporters, then I think it comes off as like, well, what you just gave us, what just hit me that hard was some egotistical bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that aspect, and it's also like by actually giving them yourself. First off, you gain real supporters by doing that. Like the pop industry is definitely something to model a lot of things off of, but the persona I have a big problem with, because you're not always going to be that person, and that's why there's always like this disconnect when people meeting their idols, you know, because it's like you have this illusion of who they actually are, and that's actually not who they are. So to be as real in your music as you possibly can, and not thinking so much about like, well, how do I get to that next level? We had this conversation with Ben Strock last time on our last episode, and he was talking a lot about this. Just be as real as you possibly can with your music, because to me it kind of sets the tone. Like you don't have to pretend to be anybody that you're not when you're off the stage. So you can just literally be that person, and people respect that. And then on top of that, I think that translates. People who are really into music will, like, they'll be your fan, they'll be your supporter till the day that they die, and till the day that you die. You know, I'd rather you know, find that group, that supportive group of like, you know, 100,000, 500,000 people, and sell them records directly than sell, like, you know, to 20 million people that don't really give a shit, you know.
Have you ever heard of I forget what the actual term for it, but basically they're saying you need 1,000 true supporters to be successful. And I'm probably butchering how like this is all made up, but
yeah, that's all you need to like keep yourself afloat.
So, or not even afloat, to like thrive well. So I watch this. I'm always watching these like self-help artists. You know, there's no such thing as a hack, a tour hack, or any of that. You just gotta get out there and do it. So let's say you have and 1,000's a lot. I would say we have maybe a couple hundred that anything you put out, they're going to support it. Not, oh, I feel this, I'll buy it. It's like, no, like you said, that record, you're not in love with it, but you got it because that's your dude.
Yeah.
Right? All right, so this guy said a couple times a year they do a merch bundle online. So one was for like $70 and one was for like $30 and one was for like $70. And you space them out like, 8 months apart. So let's say you have a $70 merch bundle and your 1,000 true fans show up and get that. That's $70,000.
I'll run the math. Hang on.
$70,000. Then you got your little $30.
That's right.
You did earlier that year. That's $30,000. That's $100,000 off of 1,000 fans. So,
like the numbers work out for sure. But
think of a show. If you had 1,000, like 1,000 people don't sound like a lot, but if you had 1,000 people show up every show paying to get in,
you're good to go.
You're doing pretty well. Like, I would be happy.
Especially consider the fact that 1,000 people are gonna bring another 1,000 people that might just be like a halfway supporter, because like they don't just go to the show by themselves, right? So they bring some of their friends with them. They help sell some of that kind of like that auxiliary stuff. It's like, well, maybe you just sold a shot glass or something that you wouldn't have sold otherwise, right? So that 1,000 people snowballs, maybe becomes 3,000 people. And then, if those people had a good time, maybe you picked up some more real fans, and then they bring, another 1,000 people with them. It's like it becomes this snowball thing,
So getting getting a diehard supporter, someone who believes like in you guys personally as artists and in the work you're putting out, that is like the end goal. So it's not like to blow up or anything. Like that can happen, but it's like, it's always just about making music that can connect with people. And if they can connect with it, if you make yourself vulnerable, which I think what a lot of the pop artists are successful because of that. You're singing about getting your heart broke half the time. What's more vulnerable than that?
Right.
And if you can pull it off without, making it look contrived, like people are going to connect with that. So
for sure.
I wrote I don't even want to call it a breakup song, but it was just about me and a person I was involved with kind of going, in different directions. It's actually the title track of The Flame. It's called The Flame. And that before we recorded that, people would send us messages all the time from our live shows, like recording a clip. They're like, what's the name of the song? Are you guys, is this going to be on the next album? This is like the most relatable song ever.
Wow. And
yeah, just hear it. And that was kind of just a throwaway song, but it was just like, at that time, that was like one of the most vulnerable that I ever made myself as a songwriter, So it's not like, some of our other songs are about, fuck bitches, get money, whatever.
Woo! Right.
Not really, guys, but Spinach is one of our biggest songs. Is about blowing money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I like that song a lot. I was listening
I
to
like
last
writing
night.
in the John Lennon perspective. You got kind of the face value, what you could take it for, and then there's kind of an underlying
deeper value.
Yeah, so there's
deeper
so the listener can, all right, I'm either gonna party this or I'm gonna sit down and smoke a joint. This is going to be a conspiracy theory song. If you want to.
Right, totally. I definitely have some of those in the queue right now.
But just calling money spinach, I fucking love that.
Yeah, it's very clever. I do. So David has a question here. David's our manager.
I'll read it.
And,
what are some things you have done to reach out to your fans and develop that true persona on stage, Anton? And I would follow up before he answers. He has 0 of it, so it's very easy for him.
Yeah, right. Okay. So Billy is usually 100% wrong all the time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm all the personality on stage. Okay. Yes, yeah, I agree.
So some things I do, at least with the band, is that I'm very big on the email list and keeping in touch with people through that. But as far as like live shows, I'm definitely out there and talking to people as much as I possibly can. The other end of that is that I have a very hard time hiding the fact that I'm not having a good day. So sometimes that translates on stage, and sometimes I'll walk off stage and you won't see me.
That's one of the hardest things to do, man, is like to let it go. Or even worse, like if you guys are having a bad show.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, unless you guys are like really fucking things up, like the crowd really doesn't know a lot of the things. We're more critical, especially of our own work. So that's one of the hardest things. If you're not having a good show or you guys just aren't feeling it, is to still deliver a good performance.
Yes.
So I definitely, can agree with you.
I learned
It's
that
one of
from-
the hardest things to do in show business.
I
sure.
agree. I learned that from acting and drama and stuff like that because I used to do a lot of plays and stuff when I was a kid. And as an actor, that's the first thing they tell you is that everybody is watching you, no matter if you're not the main guy or whatever. So always smile.
Right.
If you're supposed to be smiling anyways. And then, like you said, you just translate that to being off stage and everything like that. Like you can't be, you know. You can't be a dick. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, like David just said,
gotta be
not
happy
true.
the whole
Billy
time.
Anton has done a lot of work on this, which is true. I've done a lot of work on this.
I appreciate that you're trying to give him some pointers, and if you want to throw sympathy points to him, that's great.
No, so I'm not the most vibrant person on stage because I'm very. I mean, I can be sometimes, but like I definitely. There's so that we like Billy and I have talked in depth about this, and some part of the issue that I have when I'm performing is that since I'm kind of like, especially when we're on the road, I'm like the tour manager, I'm the merch guy.
It's true. He's got a lot on his mind.
I'm the promoter. Like I'm the middleman between.
Stressful, man.
So it's like sometimes like when I get on stage, it's hard for me just to leave everything at the door because I'm also up there and I'm like looking at the crowd. It's like, oh man, well we only have, we're playing in Asheville tonight. We only have 20 people in the crowd. This doesn't look good for us. And it's like, but you're up there also having to like deliver your best performance. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that goes on that I have to not making excuses, but this is what goes on in my head. So I'm not always the most vibrant person on stage. But what I will say is that I think that just also in general, like I'm not the most vibrant person just in general. So I think that when I pretend to be that, it doesn't come off as genuine.
Yeah.
So
we definitely want to be yourself, but like kind of stretch the limits because people can tell too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of got like the Derek Trucks persona. I feel like.
Yes, and that's kind of what that's kind of like my cop out. And like what the last band that I played in with this band called the Rock and Jake Band, where I was just a guitar player, and Jake was is still with his band is like the most vibrant showman you will ever meet. Like the guy, he's a harmonica player. It was a blues band, and he's the guy that like goes on like walks across the bar and like is out there. He lets people come up and play his.
Scotchy and the River Rats.
Right, yes,
dude,
good
he's
friends
a
of
great
ours.
performer.
Great performer, man.
Yeah, first time we played with him, same shit. And it's
he does that too.
Bastard. Now we,
Yeah, Scotchy's an animal.
Step it up. But you got to respect that though.
I do, but so I remember when I was playing with Rock and Jake, he was like, Anton, you gotta smile more on stage, and I was like, look at Derek Trucks. That dude doesn't fucking smile for shit.
But at the same time, Derek, his only job is to be Derek. Like
right.
You sing too, right?
I do sing.
You're the singer, so I feel like you can still get away with a little more, but people still want that connection.
They do, and I still work on it for sure. Like, I'm not saying I have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Like,
and he plays just as well, if not better, than Derek Trucks, so he doesn't really need that personality. You're right. I totally agree with you.
Somebody did tell me that one time. It was like, yeah, but you're not Derek Trucks. And I was like, okay, guys.
All right, so
Jacksonville's
how
son.
good are you at concert sex though?
At what?
Concert sex.
Concerts? Oh, like putting your leg up on the fucking.
No, having sex with your eyes on stage.
Yeah, so that's something I like.
So if you're not gonna be flashy, like I can't get up and dance. I'm playing the drums. I try to dance when I'm playing, But
you just lock eyes with somebody.
You gotta lock eyes.
I'm a big eye locker. Yeah.
Don't give them too much. You can't give them more than like a few lines at a time.
That's all I do.
That's another great way. That's being flirtatious on stage, and you don't have to be pelvic thrusting, which you should be.
Yeah,
doing.
I'm not that guy though.
I wave to people
a little bit
on
of concert,
stage.
a little bit of concert sex. Girls grinning at you up front. Give her,
I love that.
Give her a
concert
little love.
sex.
Go to the next one. That's still another way. When you get off stage, then you kind of already had that connection. Now
For sure.
You already broke the ice already.
For sure. Well, I have a girlfriend, so I can't actually give him too much concert sex because that puts me in a really rough position when I'm off the stage.
Well, it does, but if you're gonna be in this biz, she's got to be open-minded.
Yeah,
too.
she's in this business too. Alchematic is a great band that you should check out as well.
I'll have to check them out.
She's in this band. She's in this business. And she gets it for sure. But there's just like I do that like my eye. Like I'm definitely good at like locking with people.
Yeah,
and
lock and stay there for a second.
Yeah.
You got to give them that glimmer of hope.
For sure.
This is great advice.
Everyone in Led Zeppelin was married except Jimmy Page. He was on the dark side.
Jimmy Page is the only one that wasn't.
Every person that night thought they were sleeping with Robert Plant.
Right.
I mean,
right. You gotta give him a little bit of that. I'm good at doing that. I just gotta get better at.
But you don't follow through with it. You don't have to follow through. You still be faithful to your girl, but you know, just you can make a moment's worth of connection, and that like, even when you're emphasizing a line, emphasize a line, look her right in the eyes,
Right.
or him.
Or him.
I was about to say, can I do it to
It's
guys
2020.
too?
Yeah, that's what works well for you.
I'll work on the guys. I'll work on the
It
guys.
would
so
really
you can
work
do it
well
with the
for
girls.
Bill.
What I was trying to say is I like to wave to people while I'm playing.
Yeah, wave smile, even if it's a dude. Like you see people giving the stink face, like
Yeah.
give them one back. Like just
It doesn't have to be
sharing a moment
sexual.
with the crowd. Like you don't have to be going over the top.
For
Like-
sure.
Like our boy Nate, Base Bortles, some people call him here.
Base
in the
Bortles.
Nice.
Nate, he's tall, dark, and handsome, but he's like on stage, he kind of just grooves in the pocket. But you know, you just when you're vibing. And I also think people, if you're having fun, they're gonna have fun.
Yeah, definitely. You
got-
have
If
to
you look
give
out there
that
and
to
the
them.
band's not having fun, it is absolutely impossible for everyone else to have fun.
Here's the thing that I will say is that if it's a good show and we're having fun, I look like I'm having fun. Billy thinks that if you're not jumping around like an animal on stage, that looks like you're not having fun. That's not true.
You're the odd
just-
man out here, bud. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
No, I guess more if the band is vibing as a band, you don't even have to have much crowd interaction. All right, so here's of a band called, what are they called? Stoop Kids.
Yeah, I've heard of them before.
Stoop Kids, I believe they are out of
I know. Hey
I think
Arnold.
Nashville now, but I may be wrong. Stoop Kids, let me know where you're at.
Stoop
We did a short couple run with them, I think 2 different times. Those guys can freaking perform, dude. So it's like, if you went to a show, would you want to see like these absolute super shredders who are kind of stoic on stage, let's say giving you a 10 out of 10? Or would you want to see a band that's giving you maybe 7 out of 10, but it's just drinks are flowing, high energy on stage, titties are popping out in the crowd?
It depends. I get that appeal. That's also, but like I'm the wrong guy to ask
You
about
know what
that.
might be good for
I get,
you?
I'm saying as an audience
member.
as an audience
yeah,
member.
for sure. What the
Because
latter,
a lot,
for sure.
especially live too, a lot of like the nuances get lost.
Yeah, big time.
What was the vibe like? People are more on a vibe, especially in the bar scene. Like your back is to
Yes.
the band half the time if you're at the bar or something. But is the vibe there? Like I said, are people mingling? Are guys talking to girls?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're melting their face the whole time, especially in the bar scene, it's going right over their head.
Yeah, big time. They don't give a
even
shit.
know how to whistle.
Right.
You think they care about your crazy triads and shit you're doing?
Right.
Is the vibe there? And
Right.
That's kind of like our bread and butter.
I
Like,
think so
I feel
too.
you.
I was gonna say when I was like, I think 15 or 16, I went to Freebird Live for the first time. I saw the Hot Heat play. I'm not really talking about the band at all, but the bass player of that band, his whole persona was that he was just like not a robot, but he was just like just like be like really really serious, and then would like just get real close to the fan's face and just fucking play in their face like that. That might be good
I
for
think
you.
you need
so-
to think. And playing and singing has got to be incredibly hard. I wouldn't know.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot. And then also on top of all the other shit that I have to think about. But David makes a good point. Also, we played at the Asheville Music Hall back in January
Yeah,
on
Scotchy.
Scotchy's birthday.
Yeah.
I bet
actually,
that was wild.
That was so much fun, man. That was a blast show, and that
We
obviously
crushed
communicated well on
it.
stage.
It
Yeah, we
was
did. We did a
great.
great job.
No,
It was-
I know we
It was a lot
did.
of fun. I think that we're
But
not,
who was having the most fun, David?
that's the point. That's the problem. Is it's like a competition with you who's having the most fun. For
It's
me,
always- music is very competitive,
As long
I
as
agree.
as long as you're being as genuine as you can on stage, and it translates well
And
to the
playing
audience
to your best ability.
Yeah, and playing to your best ability, and like that's like if you being genuine is jumping around like a 5-year-old who's never seen a clown before, then yeah, that's totally fine. But for me, my
Yeah.
genuine my genuine presence, like I smile, I move around a little bit, I start to kind of feel the vibe. I'm looking at people and I'm smiling right back at them. Like that's how I communicate.
Yeah, David was. He was the happiest person there.
Yeah, and
our
that's,
manager
that's
was
true.
for
Yeah, David's also our manager, so yes, he was very happy, especially when the numbers came in at night. And Michelle, yes, but yeah, so that to me, that's what comes genuine to me. And Sean, what comes genuine to him is that if I have a stoic look on stage, Sean is the king of being stoic on stage. That dude, if he starts to like, if he moves his feet, you can tell he's into it. And that translates.
Yeah.
And Aaron gets very excited. He's fucking smiling. He's fucking just powerhouse in the kid. Like he's into it. Like that. All that collectively translates
It does.
to what Side Hustle is at its peak.
But he's saying, go to the next step and bang him on stage is what I heard.
Yeah,
No,
bang
just
him.
a little concert sex.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
I give him some concert. I'm a big fan
Work
of the stare.
crowd,
There
like
you
they
go.
say.
I'm a big fan of
Hey,
stare.
yeah, I got a girl too, but she knows like when you're at the show, like you're at work. Like
Yeah.
I already know you're buying a record. I
Yeah.
don't need to talk to you right now.
Love it.
That's good, man.
And, you know, God bless her heart. Like she puts up on my shit. She knew what she was signing up for.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
especially your girl, like she's in the industry.
Right.
But you know, you got to be respectful too. I get in trouble sometimes.
For sure.
Too, but it's, yeah. There's just all these icebreakers where now it feels like you guys experience something together.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
And at the end of the day, like you said, you may be thinking about, man, we had 70 confirmed people on Facebook saying they're coming to this show. There's only 15 people here. Instead of thinking of that, think about if we turn 5 of these people into diehard supporters, that's better than people always say, hey, what? So we had a crazy opportunity. We opened for One Republic.
Yes, we were just talking about this the other night,
So
actually.
there was 48,000 people there, sold out.
Rookie numbers.
It was at BYU. It was on the 4th of July.
Oh, what,
at
in
the
Utah?
Yeah, at the
Okay.
Stadium of Fire. So, yeah,
fucking around,
in Utah. So granted, 48,000, like 47,500 of them.
That's a
are
lot
all
of Mormons.
They're all Mormons. Dude.
Right.
We stuck out like a sore thumb. People knew we were the band before we took the stage because we had the only black person that I saw in the entire stadium with us. Well, our buddy
Jeez.
Ray, who flew out for the show. Our tour manager, Chris, is the only person with sleeves in the entire stadium.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy with long hair in the entire stadium. So, and you got Nick with the big hat and,
You guys look like rock
Nate
stars.
just looking like a stud.
Yeah.
So we stood out like sore thumbs. We played that show and we're like, dude, we're put on after this. Like, we did our little gig, whatever. After the first song, it was crickets for like 2 or 3 seconds. We thought we bombed, and then the place goes crazy. We're like, all right.
My God.
There's
Like,
shit.
we got it. Yeah, so first we thought we bombed. Then the place went crazy, and we're like, all right, we're put on now. We're put on. Dude, you know how many true fans we got out of that? Like, a handful.
Yeah.
At least.
You play a gig at the Blue Jay Listening Room. We did our EP release party there. We sold it out when she first opened. And what's the capacity? 99? We probably got 75 diehard fans from that show.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I would rather play. There's a great room. It's in Southwest Florida. What the hell? Is it the Blue Rooster?
Blue Rooster.
Blue
No.
Rooster.
You're
Didn't
thinking
Kara
it's a
talk
name of
about
Barrel
that?
Room? The Barrel Room?
No, I think it might be called the Blue Rooster.
Blue Rooster?
It's,
Didn't Kara talk about that? Or no, there's one in another listening room in
Nico,
Gainesville.
if you're watching, our manager,
I
let
don't
us
think
know.
I
Or
didn't see
Chris.
him, but
Yeah, there's a room, and it's like it kind of reminds me of the Blue Jay, but it's 2 stories on the inside, good sized stage. You have to make reservations for your table. It's almost like a dinner theater, but you're playing a concert.
It's in like Naples area.
North of it, I'm gonna have to get back to what the hell is
Port
the area?
Charles.
It's south of Tampa, the Bay Area.
Yeah. I'm sure I played there before. I
not
just can't remember.
Fort Myers? No.
Fort Myers on the East Coast.
I'm gonna have to get back to you. I believe it's called the Blue Rooster. We've played there twice now, but dude, it's the coolest little listening. And you go in there, and I mean, there's a few people in their 30s, but a lot of them are in their 40s, 50s, whatever. But every time we play in there, we leave with $200-$300 in tips. People are following us.
It's more intimate. They connect
well,
with
it's
you.
more intimate. It's crazy. Like, I would rather play a show to 40 people at the Blue Rooster than play a slam pack bar gig with 400 people, line out the door.
Well, it might be that way forever. So
No.
Maybe it
Doubtful.
will be, but I'm just saying.
Based
to me,
on
that's
what's going on
that's
in
a
the
more
country.
quality show because
I
people
agree.
are in tune. They're engaged. you know.
So Nico was doing his podcast or his live stream show for a while there. He had Tim Hall on there. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys tuned into that at
I
all.
didn't catch that one, unfortunately. but
Man, Tim spit gold that night. We hope to get him on this podcast.
yeah,
But
Tim's a legend.
so
Sure.
what Tim says, he was working at a club. He was booking a club in San Diego at the time. I don't think it wasn't Sarasota, right? The club you were talking about. And
Yeah, I believe it is.
Sarasota.
I think it is in Sarasota.
Was it the 5 o'clock room? Club 5 o'clock? No, that we played at 5 o'clock club a while
Do you
back
want me to look
ago.
it up? I'll be Jamie.
Look it up
Okay.
right now.
Yeah, you can look it up.
What do you think it was called?
The
So-
Blue Rooster.
All right, keep talking.
So Tim was booking this small club in San Diego at the time. David just pulled it up right there. Blue Rooster, Sarasota. There
Yep,
it is.
That's a great room. You guys should get in there. And
Oh yeah, we'll have to look into that for
they
sure.
like you guys would do well there.
Hell
Your
yeah,
band.
we'll check that out. So Tim was booking the small club in San Diego at the time, and this is like early '90s, and he gets a call from the management of Pearl Jam, whose first big hit, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't on the radio yet, right? So they booked the club. It was like a small room, maybe 100 cap, and the way he describes it wasn't any bigger than Rain Dogs. So, anyways, shortly after they book it, the single comes out, and they're selling out of CDs left and right at all the shops everywhere. So the manager gets back to Tim and is like, "Hey, we need a bigger room. We want to play this theater." And Tim was like, "Are you sure that's a call you want to make?" And he was like, the manager was like, "Yes, that's a call we want to make. We want to book this bigger club." And so
The manager
Tim-
of Pearl Jam.
yeah. So
Okay,
Tim
go.
reaches out to Eddie Vedder directly and says, "Hey man, just want to let you know that this is what your management wants. I'm saying that sometimes it's better to leave money on the table to sell out a room, a small
Absolutely.
room, than it is to play a bigger room to play at 75% capacity. Sometimes it's better to leave the money on the table. Number one, on the business end of it, it sounds better when you say that you sold out a room in this town before, right? It gives you more leverage in the long run, number one. Number two, you make more fans that way. Like, you make more fans playing to more intimate venues at first. Because like you're saying,
more connected. To
yeah, you played a 40,000, it was like a stadium, right? You guys played 48,000 people? Okay.
And the closest person was like 20 yards away.
You ever
Right.
been to one of those shows too? Like trying to go watch like one of your favorite bands, or like a big radio
We just
band.
went to see the Black Keys last year.
Black
and it
Keys.
sucked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or like I went to go
Sucked,
see
dude.
Muse,
It's like,
and
I would rather seen you guys at 1904.
Yeah, totally.
And you know, I mean, the way with everything's going right now, their production was huge. It was like so impressive.
Yeah.
But they were in a stadium in Orlando, and it was half sold out. So
Yeah.
it's like, even
Looks
the floor
terrible.
looked empty because there was all these cheaper seats, and it's like, damn, dude, like, you guys should have just done a theater of 5,000 people, have the bitch sell out like that.
Right,
and
made
then-
more intimate
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
it's more fun too as a performer. Like it
I'm gonna grab
goes
another
both
drink real
ways.
quick.
Like not just not just a what do you call it for the fan experience, but as a musician too. Like it's more satisfying.
Yeah, people are crammed in there like sardines. That's
Well, yeah, the when you're crammed into a show or whatever like that kind of sucks. But if you ever, I went to go see Muse, right, in like Atlanta, back in like 2009 or 10 or something like that, and it was like the worst experience I've ever had. I was like, obviously, like I've been to a lot of shows before, going front
there's
row.
that disconnect.
Fucking forget trying to go to front row at one of these stadium concerts. Everybody there is an
Yeah.
asshole. But on top of it too, it's just like, yeah, they're like way up there. It was awesome seeing them, and it was a good show. Don't get me wrong, but there was no connection
Yeah.
at all about it. It was like I was watching a movie basically, and I don't want to go do that. I want to. Yeah, there's a big part of it, like you said.
Yeah, there's that culture within the pit, within the. You know, it's like you're in the trenches.
Yeah.
You
that's
know, and it's
true.
hot and sweaty and it's smelly, but it's like that's where the magic is.
It's almost like, yeah, there's. I'm not trying to say there should ever be like a cap on how many people should ever go to a show, period. But at the same time, like you shouldn't. Maybe at some point you should. Oh, I don't know why you think this is funny just to waste my alcohol.
I think it's hilarious.
Okay, cool. I can't wait to drink this fucking thing. Great. Anyways, but I think that there should be not a limit, but like there's a certain size of a show that's just not going to be good anymore.
Well, the production can get too big, or it's not quality anymore.
Not just the production, but like just
Sound
the
and
fan
the-
experience
yeah,
too.
fan
Yeah.
experience.
You know who does a great job with it is Spirit of Swanee.
Oh my
Music.
God!
Oh,
yeah, that's a
yes.
great one.
I mean, you can be at the main stage and you can ride the rail if you want, or you can be halfway back, and it's like it's freaking incredible.
Yeah, Swanee's a magical place, man.
Not bad, actually.
That's one of the few places I've had dreams of playing the amphitheater stage.
Amphitheater. I played it twice. It's fucking
It's
amazing.
incredible, dude. I've had this reoccurring dream. It's like a night set at the amphitheater, and it's just you're looking up at the sea of people.
I'm sure you guys will.
I'd rather do that than a stadium show all day.
Oh, 100%. Although I'd like to make the money from a stadium show.
Money is always nice.
Yeah, not bad. But if you think of this, when we saw the Black Keys, let's say they made $1 million, which they probably didn't because it was a half full arena. Their production was at least 500,000.
Oh yeah, and the overhead of just using the stadium at all.
It was crazy. The freaking rafters, the lights were on the rafters, and they're all like going up and down.
There's nobody up there.
Dude, it was crazy. It was like so overblown, which is great. But in the beginning of the show, what they had before they revealed everything, they had this huge black curtain in the back. It looked like it'd be a grunge show at a high school talent show. Like the curtains in the back, and I was like, dude, this is like the most rock and roll shit I've seen. It's just white lights, like amber lights on them, huge stack of amps, and just a giant black curtain behind them. And I was like, dude, they're in a stadium and they're doing like it's a freaking garage show. I thought that was so sick.
Yeah.
And then they did the reveal. It dropped down and it had their name, Black Keys, huge in the back. I'm like, damn, that was badass. I didn't see that coming. And then it leveled up like 6 more times.
I'm sure.
The Encore had a 30-foot tall electric chair on it that just appeared on stage.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Way to go,
It was
Florida.
great. It was great, but at the same time, there was definitely a disconnect.
Yeah.
I saw the Black Keys back in 2000 and I want to say 10. It was the first festival I ever went to.
Oh,
and
dude, that was in the prime, like the Brothers.
Right.
That's the best.
I went to go see them at Wakarusa in Arkansas at 4 p.m. on a Saturday. But they did play the main stage, but there was like maybe 1,000 people there. And it was awesome, and I just felt kind of bad for him, but there was no lights, no nothing, and what's his fucking name? The guitarist Dan
Arbach.
Arbach. I always want to say David Attenborough, the documentarian, but no, it's Dan Arbach.
Yeah, he's the man.
It was an incredible show, and I was just like, why are more people here?
But you know who I gained a lot of respect for. Well, I was a fan already before, but great performers and shredders is the Main Squeeze.
Oh my God.
Yeah, of course.
We did a run with them.
Yes, you guys
very
played
beginning
Revolution.
of the year. Yeah, Revolution.
That's like, bro. That was when I lived in. I'm from South Florida. When I lived down there, I would go to Revolution and see like all.
Such a sick.
Bro, how was that?
It was awesome, man.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, but those guys put on a hell of a show. You could just tell you could tell there's thought on the back end. That's when me as a spectator, I really appreciate it. Even if I'm not vibing your music the most, if I can tell like, damn, these guys like put in a lot of time on the back end. Like just this part, these guys are just they're gonna walk up. You got the keytar and the guitar. Now they're dueling, and then they're climaxing at the same time. They're both falling on the back and shit. Yeah, out of context, it may be kind of corny, but when you're there in the moment, it's like, damn, dude.
Yeah,
like,
well,
there's nothing corny
sweet.
about a keytar.
Well, they Randy Jackson produced their last record.
No shit, really?
Yeah. So I mean, he was one of the judges on American Idol, and it's just fucking huge producer and musician across the board. Like, yeah. So, and they're also based out of LA, so they have a lot of support behind them, and that not to take away from anything that they're doing, but they're definitely one of those bands where it's like they have a lot of. It's not just them thinking about what's going on that stage that night,
And after seeing the Tame Impala show, I was like, man, it'd be sweet to have a creative director. That's your entire job to say, all right. And me and Nick have always specifically have always been pretty good at like you mentioned Jimmy earlier. I don't know this key is this color or whatever, but when I close my eyes, I see colors when the song's playing. I know if it's an orange, like a reggae song is kind of like orange and greens and aquas and stuff. So just having the foresight to put the light show together with the LD and the fading to black in between songs adds so much to a show.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
you can have a minute of silence now. If all the lights are on white and you have a minute of silence, that may feel like the worst night of your life on stage.
But going back to the Tame Impala show, I was just curious, and I'm just super jealous because I couldn't get tickets, and then also I think we were booked, so I couldn't even go if I wanted to. But did they do the confetti snow globe?
Yeah, the opening.
God,
He had
the ending of it with all the
the first song I believe is "Let It Happen." Yeah, you get the confetti blast off the very first song in the show.
Have you ever
which
seen
I thought
it before?
was genius.
No. I'll show it to you later, but
Dude,
yeah.
Well, I don't know about the snow glow. He just did the blaster.
But that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
He
confetti cannons, and he made sure it was the biggest in the world.
He
doubled
world.
what Beyonce's size was at Coachella.
It's just
the best part
nonstop,
about,
and it's fucking gorgeous.
The best part of his show was he played Coachella a week earlier.
Right.
So we got the Coachella show, but to 3,800 people in St. Augustine.
Badass.
Sold out. It sold out 3 months before, like in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We made sure we took off for that. That was a band. Once a year, we'll do a band field trip, which is a concert.
Yeah, we did that with Fish, right?
Yeah, ZZ Top. We've done it.
That's pretty cool.
ZZ was sick, but Tame Impala, man, like. I enjoyed the record. My buddy TK, who's like one of our head roadies and merch guys, he had saw them at Float Fest in Texas. He saw Tame Impala and he's like, dude, you got to listen to this shit. It's like the modern Pink Floyd. I'm like, all right. I heard they were kind of like the Beatles, so I didn't want to listen to them because I love the Beatles and fuck it, I'm just a hater right now.
Yeah.
So that's, in college, there's like, oh, they're the next Beatles. I'm like, nah, for that reason, I'm not going to listen to them. But like I said, you got to take your ego out of the music. So listen to the record, Lonerism, amazing. There's some Beatles stuff in there. There's some Pink Floyd stuff in there.
It's just one guy, too. It's just Kevin Parker,
Currents.
too.
He's a genius.
Yeah,
and
I know.
He's a perfect example of, he's not a shredder.
No.
I could play any
No offense,
part.
not even that great of a singer either.
No, terrible singer. But it's great. But he has the best ideas, his melodies and stuff.
Yeah, he's a genius.
I can play anything that Kevin Parker plays on any instrument if you gave me 2 hours.
It's not
to
about
sit in front
how
of the
good you are.
But the melody wins.
Yeah.
If you have a great melody, you sit down and you play that melody. It doesn't matter who's playing it or how they're playing it. If you get that feeling across, you win. So after seeing, I was a purist before I saw the Tame Impala show. Like in-ear monitors, and maybe I'd rather be deaf when I'm older. All my heroes got huge stacks blasting in their face. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that stage volume. You kind of sit in that warm bubble together, ride that wave. Never a backing track. To this day, I still don't want to play to any backing track unless it's like an intro or something that you can cue, or a transition or something. Or
if it's
something like that. Maybe on the rolling pad cueing something. And before this show, I was opposed to like a click track, a metronome, or any of that, because I'm a firm believer in everything's fluid. On stage and live, you don't want to. You're probably going to play it a few beats per minute faster than on the record.
Yeah.
With that live energy. But when I left that show, my mind was blown. I did not know what was real. I did not know what was fake. I didn't know what was. It was almost like a magic show. It was like sleight of hand. It was incredible. It sounded just like the record, but better. Like there was no improv. It was exactly how the show was, but now it was amplified and like all around you. And it was like, part of me wanted like, and no one was highlighted in the band either. It was all about the production. So he's kind of bridging that gap between like the DJs who, in my opinion, are just like a light show at the soundtrack.
Right.
Which it's fun to party to. But these guys were actually playing it live. As far as I know, most of the parts were played live. But when I left, I didn't know what was real. It didn't matter to me if there was backing tracks. For sure, they were all on a click track. Everything was precise and perfect. But just the thought and the time behind the scenes that they put in, that just blew my mind, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's all that mattered when I left, was my face just got melted harder than going to see my favorite bands doing flawless performances. It was just crazy. Like you said, the very first drop of the very first song, you got a finale. You got a confetti cannon for 30 seconds straight, and it just set the tone for the whole show. And it was just like, the lights were beautiful. They were using 3D mapping with projections. It was just like cutting edge production, cutting edge like execution.
I gotta come in a little bit.
It was crazy, dude. It was just, so from that moment forward, it's like when we left, it's like, I want to do what's best for the show.
Yeah.
Like what's best for the fans, not only in the studio but like live.
Yeah.
So for like huge shows moving forward, like I don't care if we're on a click track now. Like, I don't care if we have something queued up with the LD. Like Rob, I believe it's Rob Burns.
Over at
LD.
Jackrabbits.
Yeah, an LD for Lettuce.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. I was talking to him at our last show with the Main Squeeze, and I'm like, because you've seen Lettuce, right?
Yo, yeah.
Dude,
Several
they're
times.
just
Several
freaking
times,
phenomenal.
yeah.
And I'm just like, they're world-class musicians. I'm like, are they playing to a click? Like, how fluid is it? Because I've seen them like 2 nights in a row before. The show was different, and they just have a fluid show. They got talkback mics, so they can, all right, hey, let's run this another 8 bars. I'm feeling this.
Right.
The crowd's not hearing that, but they're having their own conversation on stage.
For sure.
But it's just like, technology's your friend. So pre-Tame Impala, we're only going to be amps. Even like in the studio now, it's like some stuff we're plugging directly in. Like we're taking the amplifier out of the equation because
Ben
I
and
want
were
that
talking-
vacuum. I want that vacuum feel, where
Yeah.
it feels like it's a man alone in space with an electric guitar. Somehow he got up there.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that conversation with Ben on the last episode about talking about just taking amps out of the equation and using like all different kinds of technology, impulse responses and stuff
With
like
who?
that. Ben.
Oh, with Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now live, like I don't really believe in the amp modeling and stuff like that. For some
Yeah.
applications, yeah, not for our band, but in the studio, why not? Unless you told someone, they wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
And even like you don't even realize half the time, right? It's like
Yeah.
if you were recorded on there, other than the fact that you know that you didn't record it with an amp, like you wouldn't even know.
yeah, you wouldn't know. And unless you're in a top of the line studio or got good gear, it's like there's always going to be that disconnect.
Yeah.
Just that empty space between the microphone
Yeah,
and the amp. And
for
it's
sure,
like,
for sure.
The more of those, all right, so we got the drums being recorded analog and the amp and the bass and all this stuff. It's like,
It adds to the mix.
that's what gives you that indie sound.
Yeah.
But, Tame Impala is another great example of, you could tell it's an indie band, but it sounds like they're recording on fucking Mars.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I'd really like to know more about the way. I know that he uses Ableton a lot. Is how he records stuff.
Oh, their
That's his
show,
DAW.
once you hit play, that show is going on with or without those guys.
I think that's because he's a super perfectionist too,
Absolutely.
and because it's one guy, and he's hiring all these other people to play for him for his parts. He's like, you're gonna play it exactly this way,
Yeah.
and I get that. But that's still cool and everything like too. But going back to the actual visual performance of it.
It's incredible.
I'm
It's
extremely
something else I took away from
jealous
them.
that you got to go see him.
It was
'cause
incredible.
looked
Something
amazing.
else is more and more we're starting to play the parts that we play on the record out live.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you spend all this time in the studio getting the perfect take. 99% of the time live, you're not going to pull something out of your ass. It's going to beat that take that you ridiculed for hours and hours to get that take. All right, that's what I want now. That's that part. So live, and I'm guilty of it too. Like when you go see Pink Floyd, David Gilmour is playing that comfortably none
Oh, yeah,
solo.
for sure.
No, and if he did, God forbid if he didn't, could you imagine going to see Pink Floyd and he does not play the comfortably numb solo?
An artistic
exactly.
take on it.
Yeah.
Even though he wrote that song too.
No,
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it doesn't matter, dude. It
Yeah.
does not matter. That's what you want to hear.
Right. That's true, for sure.
Because you have that predictability in your mind where you kind of, you know where it's going to go, and then it's so...
That's taken away from you if they don't have
and
that.
it's so comforting. It's so pleasurable when you know where it's going and it actually resolves. It actually gives you that note, that release that you wanted.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So we're starting to do that more. Like,
Yeah, same here. Actually, we've been kind of taking out a lot of the improv element to our shows, and kind of, I mean, they exist here and there, but I mean, it's definitely more about the songs and how they're actually played.
We have
you know?
we have improv where there's supposed to be improv now, and it's
Right.
almost like where there are
composed
parts where we
improv
were like,
parts.
you don't really have a placeholder for this, or like it was just a placeholder for this.
Yeah.
You don't really have like an actual part for this. We're like, now we're getting an actual part now, and then we play that constantly.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
usually it's good.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And then that's that putting the time in on the back end when a whole band is syncopated, like James Brown Band,
Yeah.
best band of all time,
Yeah,
best
for
backing
sure.
band. he's finding you on the spot if you miss a note.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're
Collins
like-
is the shit.
Dude, they're just, you have those syncopated hits. It's like, man, they must have practiced that a million times, and it shows, and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, big
the fans
time.
benefit from that.
Yeah, big time. I've become a much bigger proponent of that than I have in the past, because I was always like, for a long time, especially coming from like a blues band where we didn't really rehearse that much, and it was always like the solos are improvised, and it can kind of go either way any night that you played. And when we first started this band, it was very similar. It was just kind of see where the jam takes you,
Yeah.
which I'm a fan of doing that.
There's a
but
time and place.
There's a time and place for it, and it's like we've kind of come to the point now where it's like, especially being in the studio, where there's not really a lot of room for improv. Like, you kind of, if you want to really sound good, it's got to be composed, and it's got to be arranged, and it's all got to be put together. So coming out of that, you tend to play the songs as close to those arrangements as you can, and it just becomes like you're playing tunes all the way through as they're recorded. And I actually like that experience a little bit more, because it's something to, first off, it sounds more polished in the long run, and I like polished shows. There's a lot of people like in the jam band scene. If you like Grateful Dead and you like Fish, then you're into that kind of like, it's always a crapshoot. We'll see what happens. I've never been really a fan of that. I've always liked to see, like, even though I like the jam element, I've always enjoyed the improv element to stuff like that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, for every song that we have where we are going to have an improv spot, that's your choice to watch us play improv. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Even then, it needs to be, all right, you got 8 bars, you got 16
There you
bars
go,
to
yeah.
pull something out of your ass.
Right,
Yeah,
this is your
And
moment
that's
to
cool,
do it.
because then it's like you're making a moment
Yeah,
with
exactly.
the fans and stuff,
Right.
which is cool. And that's another great thing for festivals. But for me, I'd rather see something like Tame Impala, where especially like if you're playing to a metronome, now you got the LD. He's performing too. He knows
Yeah, big time.
we're doing 3 syncopated stops right there. I'm gonna do the flashers. We're doing this at this part. It's just like all comes together, and it's like small pieces of the puzzle. But when it comes together, it's like it's amazing.
Big
yeah,
time.
it's like
big.
it's like seeing like a choreographer or something like that, but a huge production of it, like with everything, and
Yeah.
it's so incredible to watch. I brought this up like on one of our podcasts like forever and ever ago, but have you ever seen like any of Kanye West stuff? His live performances are ridiculous,
Yeah,
and
they're
on that
crazy.
level, you
Yeah.
have all right. But the newest one is my like hands down favorite, the worship service that he has.
Oh yeah,
With all-
Sunday service.
The Sunday service,
Yeah.
and all the people that he has with him, and it's just like it's nothing
an
like
experience,
it's nothing
dude.
like you've ever seen
It's such
before.
an
So
experience.
putting on a show, yeah, that's a big part of it
for sure. Guys, this has been an awesome
Yeah, this is
episode.
going.
Yeah, this has been a great episode. We should probably get to unpopular opinions, though. I don't know if so.
so last section or closing section
yeah,
of
this
the
is our closing
podcast.
segment of the
Okay.
podcast. If you have one, think about it while we're going through ours, an unpopular
All
opinion, and I'm gonna go first here, and we'll see how this goes. COVID-19 is real, and no, you can't sing on my fucking microphone at shows.
Why can't I sit on your microphone, Anton?
Because maybe you have COVID, and if you don't, maybe I do. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Maybe don't sing on my microphone anyways.
Just don't fucking do it.
Were you talking about other musicians, or would you say supporters?
Just I would say the people that exist in that fine line in between where you just don't give a shit about what's going on stage. Just don't get on my fucking microphone in the first place.
Well, yeah.
But especially right now, especially if you're over 70, because I had a guy last week at one of my solo gigs where he was like, "Can I sing a country song? My wife just passed away," and I was like,
yeah,
it was a little weird. I was like, "Listen, man, because of
saying no to
COVID,
that.
I just don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm sorry." He's like, first off, I don't even believe that's a thing. Number one, and number two, I don't know anybody's ever had it. I don't got no COVID, and I live
where
in
you
Georgia,
from?
and Georgia's wide open. There ain't no problems in Georgia. Literally all my response was, "Okay, man," and he just sat there for about 30 seconds looking at me and was like, "All right, well, I guess it's okay," and just walks away. It's like, and you made a funny point the other night. It's like, so was your wife coughing a lot when she died? Maybe a little bit of bad taste, but also pretty funny.
Well, that's kind of my thing. All right, mine one. This is not a political podcast at all. I just want to let you know. Anyways, I'm so stoked for the RNC to fucking come to Jacksonville in a couple months.
Couple months. You stoked about that?
The middle of August.
It's a
Great
good one.
place to come. First off, Jacksonville. The
Well,
middle
the
of
heat.
August.
Well, the heat will keep the COVID from spreading.
Oh, absolutely. But Fearless Leader, I can't wait for you to come to my town. Where are they gonna have it at?
I don't know.
I'm getting tickets.
It's probably at the Veteran Memorial.
It's gonna be
Probably.
in Jacksonville.
And
It's not Jacksonville, but downtown.
And with any luck, the K-pop people will buy out every single ticket
They're like,
again.
what city gives the least amount of fucks about anything right now? Jacksonville, Florida. All right, let's do it.
They literally, actually, to that point, there was literally an analysis done. It says, what's the city that's least financially destructible? And that would be Jacksonville, Florida.
So we're doing that well.
Especially downtown. No, because there's nothing to destroy.
Oh, like if you want to protest at our, we have like a paintball course of a downtown.
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
you're
It's just
saying.
an abandoned.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So that's they literally thought about
How
that.
the fuck is he gonna come
It's
here?
also the
Whatever,
fifth
that's
most
fine.
conservative city in the state, but no big deal.
Okay, all right,
In the
cool.
country, sorry. Anyways, my unpopular opinion is I'm not a big fan of pigeons playing ping pong.
All right. Okay.
I'm not either, to be
What
honest.
is-
Thank you.
You don't you guys
No,
don't like music or fun?
I've seen them twice, and I left halfway during the
Yep.
set both times.
I can like okay.
When were they? They played here in Jax not too long ago. Oh, and the Fritz opened for them.
I
I thought the
remember.
Fritz
Yeah.
cut their heads.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
the Fritz is amazing.
I also
amazing.
I saw them. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago now when they
They're
opened.
nice guys, though. Like,
Yeah,
nothing
no, they're-
about the guys.
there's-
But
yeah,
they
they-
just don't do it for me.
They seem like great dudes. But like
It's a party, man.
I saw them. I saw Dopapod open up for them about 3 or 4 years ago
Dopapod opened up from
at 1904, and I was
Oh,
like, "Yo,
no.
Dopapod fucking cleaned
Yeah.
up with these guys." It was like
Without a
it was like
doubt.
Pigeons was a fucking mop for them. You know what
Are
I mean?
you sure? Are you sure they just played before them?
Yeah, I mean,
And that's what you mean?
No, it wasn't really a packed
And-
out show to
and
be honest
Pigeon-
with you. It
Pigeons
wasn't a lot
was
of
the
people
last
there.
one. I think I was at that show.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that Dopapod was much more impressive.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I
not
get,
the unpopular
I get
opinion, I guess, but
I get the appeal.
Yeah, it's
and
a
what
party
they do.
band.
It's a party band.
and they're
I-
fun.
But it's okay.
I
It sounds like
disagree.
it
I don't
sounds like
think
every
they're-
other
You're
every
not a
other
fan,
band.
is what you're saying.
I'm not a fan. Yeah, that's why I
You're
said
not
I
saying
don't
they're
like
over-
pigeons.
You're not saying they're overrated, though.
Well, we can talk about that.
That's,
I don't-
that's what I'm
but-
trying to say.
I don't think any band is overrated.
You don't think so?
Wait, hang
I
on. It's
don't-
not your turn. For unpopular opinions.
Well,
Oh, that's a good unpopular opinion. But yeah, anyways.
I don't. So
Well,
we
yeah,
met
that's
this
what.
rapper the other day. He's got like 600 million streams on a song. I thought the
Shit.
song was garbage, but you know what? There's 600 million people who dig that, and
Or there's like 60,000 people that's put that shit on repeat 100 times.
You know,
okay,
100
There's a lot more
million
people are
times.
listening to
100
my
million
shit.
times.
A
Yeah.
lot more. So there's a market for it. So if there any artist who's putting themselves out there, making money doing it, nonetheless, like I got respect for you. I probably don't listen to it. Like
For sure.
I'd say my blanket unpopular
opinion.
unpopular opinion. I don't like jam bands. Like to me, there's a time and place, but especially if I'm on like mushrooms or something at a festival, it's like I'm in purgatory. There's
And
a
that's
resolve.
when you're supposed to enjoy them, bud.
No, there's a resolve that never happens. You're
Oh, yeah.
building and building and building. Who are we,
Makes you anxious.
like Humphreys McGee? They've got moments of genius. Those guys are super talented.
Yeah.
I know all my friends are Umps fans, and half of the Honey Hounds fans are Umps fans.
I'm
But
also big Umps fans, but
the
it's okay.
entire time I watch an Humphrey McGee show, and I've seen like 15 times, my fists are balled. I'm like clenched the entire time.
Yeah.
And I look down, I'm like, oh my God, why am I white knuckled right now? It's
Well-
like, oh, that's right. It's been a 45-minute climax. Like I would rather like all of us be arm in arm and like
Yeah.
singing some really shitty chorus together that we could sing at the top of our lungs. That
That's
we'll be
like a-
singing the
I
rest
think
of
very
the
I
Billy
think
thing,
it's just
too.
Humphreys is the problem, because I'm just gonna say, if your dream is to play the fucking amphitheater at Swanee, maybe don't open up with that. You're not a big fan of jam.
Hey, that's just my personal opinion.
I
but
feel,
you
I
know,
feel you.
I saw I'm not an EDM guy either.
Oh, well, teacher on
but
that
I
one.
saw what's Russ Liquid.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those guys?
I've
the
never
recorded
seen them,
stuff
but
I
our
don't
friend
care
Charlie.
for, but they melt in my face live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Russ Liquid's great.
It just had a vibe, dude, and they're a jam band, but it was like it went somewhere. It was very structured.
I was listening to your CD last night, and then after it went to like the album's over and went to the radio on Spotify, Sun Squad became on.
I love Sun
Oh, cool.
Squad.
Do you like them?
Yeah, they actually got some good stuff.
Jam band. There you go.
I'm a melody guy though. They
You're
got some
melody.
good
Yeah,
melodies.
great melody. Yeah,
Melody
that's my
guy.
whole thing. I'm a melody guy too,
All right,
man.
let's
That's why I like them so
That's your
much.
unpopular opinion, though.
Yeah,
Not a jam band
that's
guy.
fine.
A lot of people aren't gonna like me for that one.
I
but-
can
So
connect with you a little
no
bit on
one
that
in the
one, though.
South is gonna like me for this one, but I don't like tea. Sweet tea, any unsweet tea. I don't like tea. Period. It's stupid.
I'm not a big tea guy either. It's okay in some.
He's from Miami, so but you're from.
I don't like shitty sweet tea, but
You're
I
from-
like herbal teas.
Oh, you're from. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Like hot tea.
Yeah,
It's the
hot tea.
grossest thing in the
I
world.
get in some good
Dude,
herbal
it's
teas.
like honey water with a dash of herbs.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And he's a honey hound, bro. So
Oh,
you
that's
know, what are
right.
you gonna
That's
say?
right. I'm not really selling this on this, but I'm not a big
Okay,
tea
then
or
I
sweet
gotta
type.
do mine before
All right,
do
you
your
got
last
two more.
one. No, I got one more.
Oh, sorry, we got two more.
I cannot stand 80s hairband rock ballads. Not into it.
Yeah.
I can't fucking stand it.
Have you ever listened to those damn Yankees? Can you take me high enough?
Yeah.
Can you take me
Yeah. I
high
can't.
enough
Yeah, I can't
to
do
fly
that.
me
Or like
over yesterday?
rose colored rose thorn. What's it called? Every rose has its thorn. Jesus Christ.
Are you kidding me? Brett
I'm a little-
Michaels,
I'm a
he
little
had his
tipsy.
whole fucking reality TV show. Yeah, Poison.
I can't stand that shit, man. It's just so
It's
cheesy.
the worst.
Well, that's not really an unpopular opinion.
I think a lot of people like that stuff.
a lot of
All rock music from the 80s sucks.
a lot of women-
There's an unpopular opinion.
Back in Black from AC/DC was a great record,
I don't
though.
think
I will
that's
say
80s.
that was
That's
1980,
70s.
1980,
Yeah, that is
1981.
80s rock, but that's
Is it?
Yeah, it
even
is.
then
100%.
it's nostalgic, but it's like it's very corny. You
It
got
Oh,
is.
yeah,
It
for
is.
sure.
But, bro, there's some great. So I know that record back to front.
Yeah,
there's
there
some
are
great tunes on that
moments,
record.
There are some great moments,
Yeah.
but it's like more nostalgic. If that it's not a timeless record. If that came out today, would you listen to it?
I think so. I really enjoy that record. I will
Ugh.
Like,
say,
dude, this is
like
hard
rock and roll
chords.
ain't noise pollution. What a great song.
If ACDC
Yeah, that is
came
a
back,
good song.
I could see them coming back right now.
They
They're
could
like,
come back right
no,
now.
No, but like another band, and like that's the new fucking genre
Well,
of
it's
music.
like-
It's fucking like
What's that
stadium
band?
rock.
What's that band? The
There's-
Led Zeppelin band.
Oh, Greta Van Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet. Yeah,
Van Fleet. Sorry,
Yeah,
not Van
that's
Fleet. Sorry.
It's a tribute band. That's
Yes,
nice.
It's what it sounds like.
It's a
Did you
tribute
did you go to
band.
Rockville like a couple years ago where the Foo Fighters came?
No.
But I went to go see Greta Van Fleet. I was like, oh man, this is like
They're-
Led Zeppelin,
they're
but
good.
not
They're
as
good
good.
Kids. Yeah, they're good kids, but it's like you need to paraphrase. You're ripping off the whole. I mean,
Pick a lane.
you're literally doing or attempting to do Jimmy Page licks.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got the John Bonham drum set.
Yeah.
Plants
he's
vocals.
Stealing his vocal runs.
Yeah, I know completely.
Stealing his runs.
Completely.
All right. Well, last one on the docket, and we'll say goodnight. Do you like Radiohead?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you'll love this. Tom York sounds like a haunted goat, is what I put
A
down.
haunted goat.
Just, yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what he sounds like.
That's
In
fine.
my
I have no
opinion.
opinion either way. I think they have some great songs, but
They have
I'm not
one good
of them.
song. It's called "Creep," and they never play it.
Okay, that's why you're not actually a Radiohead fan, though, because Radiohead fans don't like Creep, and people who like Creep don't like Radiohead.
But would you say it's their most famous song?
What does that? This is.
And
I
I
can't
said
stand this
I
argument.
said their
I can't-
greatest song.
It's not their greatest song. No,
That's
it's their
like-
most popular song.
That's like pigeonholing Creed for "Can You Take Me Higher."
Well, are you a Creed? Well, hang on. Wait
Well,
a second.
are you a Creed fan? 'Cause that would be the
There's
real
so
unpopular
many-
opinion
There's
here.
so many things I have to
I wish
understand
I-
right
no,
now.
I wish I was right at this moment.
Tyler loves Creed, ladies and
He
gentlemen.
is from Florida.
It's his favorite band.
Well, you went.
Great.
You went.
That's
to, you
gonna
said
be the
you went to.
clickbait for this whole podcast.
You went to school in FSU,
Yeah, I was
in Tallahassee.
TCC.
You know that's where he's from.
I thought they were Canadian.
They're from Tallahassee, bud. You
Are you
didn't know
sure
that?
about that?
Yes, I'm positive.
I don't know about.
Well, that's the reason I hate all those 80s ballads, because the place to pick up chicks is this place called Yanni's on Thursday nights, ladies' night, and it was also 80s. So all you heard was Journey.
Oh, I can't
It's
stand
like
that.
all the sing-alongs with all the drunk, like, basic white chicks, top of their lungs.
Can't stand it.
You'd end up scoring at the end of the night, but was it worth it?
Was
Yeah.
you're not
Was
a
it worth it?
so you're
I
not a
don't
Van
know.
Halen fan then?
No, I do like Van Halen.
You do. But do you
Yeah.
like? Are you Van Halen or Van Hagar? That was
I mean,
the last
I'm
unpopular opinion.
I'm definitely a David Lee Roth fan, obviously, but the Hagar, they
Heard
had
it
some
here
hits.
first.
They had some hits.
Sammy Hagar is obviously
No,
a better
Hagar had
singer,
some
though.
hits.
But nothing beats fucking Panama or Hot for Teacher. Anyways, the whole point is this: is we want to end this today because today is our top fan, Paul Daniel Sight's birthday today.
Oh, so what's he doing?
He is turning 21 years old today.
Okay. That's weird that our top fans
For the
21.
for the
That's
for the
good.
for the
That's a good
sixth
market.
It's a
for
good
the-
market.
Good market.
It's a good market.
turning 21 for the 16th time this year in the past 16 years. Anyways. But anyways, happy birthday, Dan. Hope you're having a good day. And we heard it here first. Van Halen is way better than Van Hagar.
Okay, and before we go, first off, thanks to Tyler for being here, and make
Thanks for
sure,
having me, guys.
absolutely, man,
Oh,
make
yeah,
sure
thanks so much.
you check out make sure you check out Honey Hounds on all the streaming platforms. Their latest album, Jesus Christ, where did my thing go? The Flame.
we're
Jesus
in-
Christ.
oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm
The
a little
Listen to them all.
tipsy.
Don't just listen to that
Listen
one.
to all of them, obviously. Yeah, listen to all of them on
The
all the
Flame
streaming
and No Sleep,
platforms.
yeah.
Thank you to Captain Jack Smokehouse for sponsoring us today. We're about to go get into some grub right now. Their happy hour, 2 to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, starting this Monday. Please go support them. They are an awesome place with great food, and they support local music. So, nothing more important than that. So,
What about you? You want to play anything?
A song?
Oh, well, like anything. Do you want to not play, plug?
Plug anything. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Hell
Or coming for having me, I should say.
You got a great house.
I guess I'm just gonna say, please, everyone. Still, I know times are tough right now, and
Yeah.
times are like super weird and unprecedented. But just support where you can, who you can. Whether it's like a graphic designer, a band. It's probably not gonna be shows, but what you can do is just stream them on Spotify, or turn your friends on. Play them at a party so your friends get, maybe turned on to a new band.
for sure.
Even if it's not a local band, just share music, share ideas, and let's not go too crazy through all this election shit. At the end of the day, we're all in this together, so
Yeah, that's true.
everyone just love one another.
For sure.
Yeah, we just want to plug that.
And jam band
Just
guys
love.
still love me.
Yeah. And
Right.
women,
I love
too.
you all personally.
Yeah.
It's
All
not
right.
your music.
All right, well, that's it. Then I'll end it together. And adios, muchachos. Thanks for
Cheers.
tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday.
Cheers.